in heaven.
Hallowed be thy name.
Hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy will be done in earth.
Thy will be done in earth
as it is in heaven.
as it is in heaven.
Give us this day our daily bread.
Give us this day our daily bread.
And forgive us our debts.
And forgive us our debts
as we forgive our debtors.
as we forgive our debtors.
And lead us not into temptation.
And lead us not into temptation,
But deliver us from evil.
but deliver us from evil.
For thine is the kingdom.
Thine is the kingdom,
And the power.
and the power,
And the glory.
and the glory,
Forever.
forever.
Praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord,
For he is good.
for he is good,
And his mercy endures forever.
and his mercy endures forever.
Praise the Lord God of Israel.
Praise the Lord God of Israel,
For he is good.
for he is good,
And his mercy endures forever.
and his mercy endures forever.
In Jesus' name we pray.
In Jesus' name we pray.
The Holy One of Israel.
The Holy One of Israel,
King of kings.
the King of kings,
And Lord of lords.
and Lord of lords,
The one true God.
the one true God,
And there is no other.
and there is no other.
Amen.
Amen.
I will praise thee, O Lord, with my whole heart. I will show forth all thy marvelous works. I will be glad and rejoice in thee. I will sing praise to thy name, O thou most high. When my enemies are turned back, they shall fall and perish at thy presence. For thou hast maintained my right and my cause. Thou sittest in the throne, judging right. Thou hast rebuked the heathen. Thou hast destroyed the wicked. Thou hast put out their name forever and ever. O thou enemy, destructions are come to a perpetual end, and thou hast destroyed cities. Their memorial is perished with them. But the Lord shall endure forever. He hath prepared his throne for judgment. I read to you Psalms 9, verse 1 through 7. May the Lord add a blessing to the reading, hearing, and doing of his word. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Like I say, grace and peace in Jesus' name to everybody that's here today, everybody that's watching online. It is once again a blessing to be here. And like I said earlier, well actually I had a brother call me from Jacksonville a few weeks ago. He said, "Brother Nate, man, you know, this hotel down here tripping, man. We came to class, we ain't got no water in here, man." He said, you know, sometimes they come with water, sometimes they don't. We've been dealing with this hotel about 2 years in Jacksonville. They've been really good. So sometimes they can get bring some water, it's not a big deal. You may have new employees and stuff like that. So he called me, he said, "Well, what are we supposed to do, Brother Nate?" I said, "Well, I told y'all brothers down there to bring water anyway." You know what I'm saying? Because he's like, "Man, we got babies in here. They might, you know, somebody can choke and all this type of stuff." I said, "Well, I told Brother Julius, make sure y'all bring water every week. So in case the hotel slip, we make sure we on point." You know what I'm saying? So we don't have to depend on them for nothing. You know what I'm saying? So, because it's our church, not theirs. So just keep that in mind. So it ain't nothing, $3. Bring a case every week. You know what I'm saying? Make sure the reading teacher got one. Because we can knock this stuff over also. And then on top of that, in case they don't have it, we can still keep functioning anyway. So I just want to make sure I put it out there. But once again, it's good to see y'all. You know, it seemed like time going faster and faster. Don't it seemed like it was a couple weeks since we were last here, man. So
Yeah.
it's definitely a blessing to be here again. We're gonna open this up, as y'all can see from the title of the class. It is called Do's and Don'ts on the Sabbath Day. It's kind of warm in here. This class gonna be warm. Good.
Set it off, man.
Oh, it's the heat. Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, okay, I got you. Yeah, I did this class last week, and I felt it was necessary for us to look at it again, because there's a lot of people, you know, that come into the Word, whether you knew or whether you've been dealing with the Word for some time. You know, sometimes, as far as people that's been in the Word for, you know, for a while, we can kind of get, you know, we kind of lose sight of what it is we first, you know, was looking at when we came in the Word of God. Like, for instance, you know, you first come in, some of the things you do or have done when you came in, the excitement that you had, you know, the way you would look at the Sabbath day, the way you would treat it, the way you would treat the Word of God, period. As time goes on, sometimes, you know, you start getting a little lazy, you know, so it's very necessary for us to revisit the things that we can do and cannot do on the Lord's Sabbath. Along with people that are new to the Word of God, whether you're here watching online, some people may not have a full understanding on what we're allowed to do on the Sabbath day. You know? So that's why this class is necessary. So let's go open this up in Philippians first. Philippians, you know, open this up, chapter 3, and just one verse. Philippians chapter 3. You go open it and read that verse 1 for me. What it say?
Finally, my brethren.
Hold on 1 second. You done? It's right. Just remember, right after Corinthians, the way we remember, we go by God eats potato chips. He don't eat potato chips for real. We just G-E, you know, Galatians, Ephesians, Philippians, Colossians. So that's how we do it. So read verse 1.
Finally, my brethren, rejoice in the Lord. To write the same things to you, to me indeed is not grievous.
Right, so like I said, we taught it last week. We dealt with the Sabbath class last week, do's and don'ts on the Sabbath day in Atlanta. So it's not a problem, like Paul is saying, finally, my brethren, rejoice in the Lord, to write the same things to you, to me, indeed is not grievous. It's not a problem for me to do it, you know, because it's needed all over the world when you think about it. But what else to say?
But for you it is safe.
Right, because you need to know what you need to do on the Sabbath day. So even though we looked at this last week, we're going to review this again. And even though you might have been in the Word for some time, we're going to look at this because for you it is safe. Because the very thing that's necessary, you know, like I was thinking about, you know, maybe doing some bringing a meat class, 7 weeks of Daniel, something like that. 7 churches of Revelation. I was thinking about that type of stuff, Black history, something like that. And I was like, nah, let's just get to the basics because, you know, that's, sometimes we get lost, like they say, lost in the sauce, you know, and sometimes that can happen. We could, you know, look at all the heavy things in the Bible and forget about the simple things, and that's really what you're going to be judged by. You're not going to be judged about whether or not you understood Daniel, 70 weeks of Daniel. You're not going to be judged on whether you understood the beast in Revelation. You understand? You're going to be judged on you keeping the Lord's Sabbath day, feast days, you know, also his, you know, dietary law, things, simple things. This is what God's going to judge you by. You understand? So, got to make sure we understand the Sabbath day because we don't want to defile it, you know. So, we're going to open this up. And I know some things may not sound good, but it's not about what sounds good. It's about us getting into the kingdom of God. You understand? So that's what we're going to look at today. We're going to open this up in Genesis chapter 2. What and when is the Sabbath? That's the first thing we need to kind of hound on. What is the Sabbath? When did it actually come about? Or how do we determine it? So Genesis chapter 2. Genesis chapter 2. We're going to pick this up at verse 1. Genesis 2. Verse 1, when you get that, go ahead with it. Oh, it's out? You need my good? Oh, okay, go ahead. Yeah, Genesis 2.
Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the hosts of them. And on the 7th day, God ended his works which he had made. And he rested on the 7th day from all his work which he had made.
Go ahead.
And God blessed the 7th day and sanctified it, because that in it he had rested from all his work which God created and made.
Okay, so now what we're looking at right here, this is, you know, the book of Genesis, the creation where everything, you know, you go back in Genesis chapter 1, you see how the Lord put everything together. You know, starting from first day when he created the light, all the way down to day 4 when he brought the sun and the moon into effect and stuff like that. Day 6 when mankind came on the scene. Then we go into Genesis chapter 2 and we see, you know, now he's finishing his work. All right? That's why he's saying verse 1, thus the heaven, the earth, and the earth were finished and all the hosts of them. So everything is complete now. Took him 6 days to get everything done. But what happened on the 7th day? Read verse 2 again.
And on the 7th day, God ended his work which he had made.
Right, so on the 7th day, now he's done. He's complete, finishing all his work, right? Keep reading.
And he rested on the 7th day from all his work which he had made.
Right, so he didn't rest on the first day, did he? No. You know, he didn't start, you know, he didn't, you know, it didn't start on day 7 where he started working and he ended up resting on day 1. Because if you look at the world today, it's kind of, it's like that, isn't it? You know, it's backwards. Every week it goes 1 through 7. And it just makes sense to rest on the seventh day, which God set aside. But if you look at how man does it, you know, they consider Sunday the day of rest. That's backwards, though. You actually resting on the first day. Why you gonna rest on the first day? That don't make sense. I just go to show you that's something that man has got to put together. But like you say here, on the seventh day, God ended his work which he had made. He rested on the seventh day from all his work which he made. What it said again, verse 3.
And God blessed his seventh day and sanctified it.
So what day did he bless and sanctify? Seventh day of the week, right? Because I know we heard the saying we can worship any day, right? Yeah. Everybody like to say that. You know, you even got one big preacher, you know, T.D. Jakes, trying to be funny. You know, I guess they're trying to do damage control now. I guess somebody might have said something to him a few years back about the Sabbath day. He tried to address it, you know, try to be funny about it. Well, I got some friends that keep the Sabbath. You know, they do it on Saturday, but, you know, we can worship God on Monday, Tuesday, man, you know, first, second, we're trying to be funny about it. But you can worship God on any day. But it's only one day that he blessed and sanctified, right? That's the seventh day of the week. So that kills that argument. Yeah, we can worship him every day, but it's one day you commanded to stop working. And that's the seventh day. He didn't sanctify the first day. He didn't set apart any other day. The seventh day is what he blessed and sanctified and set it apart, right? Because that ended, he had rested from all his work which God created and made, right? All right, so now let's go over to Matthew chapter 28. We're going to see how this day actually comes about. When you look at the way God does things, you know, as far as we're concerned, in the middle of the night, 12 o'clock midnight, you know, that's considered another day, 12 o'clock a.m. But if you just pay attention to the word, like I was saying last week, listen, it's called midnight. It's the middle of the night. So you understand, we still in the same night. We haven't went into another day or another night. We're still in the same night. It's called midnight for a reason. But let's see how God determines it. Matthew chapter 28. You're going to be able to use this in a few months when Easter come around, because it's coming real soon, and people are going to start throwing this in your face when Jesus rose on Sunday, when Resurrection Sunday comes. You know, they slick about it now. They don't want to call it Easter now. They don't want to call it Resurrection Sunday. It's still a lie. I don't care how much lipstick you put on a pig, it's still a pig. You understand? It ain't going to be pretty at all. It's still a pig. Matthew 28, verse 1, what does that say, Nate?
In the end of the Sabbath, as it began to dawn toward the first day of the week.
Now notice what he say. He say, in the end of the Sabbath, right? As it began to dawn toward the first day of the week, right? So that's like as we get ready to end the Sabbath this evening. What's going to start happening is it's going to start dawning toward the first day. Most people think when we see dawn, we see the word dawn, we might think that it's, you know, dark outside moving over toward light, you know, light. But now what we talking about here, we just talking about it's moving toward another day in this particular case. Because when we look at Nehemiah, we're going to see how Nehemiah had the gates shut, you know, as it started to get dark. You see what I'm saying? No, you know, showing you that the Sabbath is determined. You know, like last night when the sun went down, we knew that, you know, as it started to get dark, as a matter of fact, before the sun went completely down, we knew that we was getting ready to go into the Sabbath. That's why all of us be running crazy before the sun go down. We try to get everything done, try to get the kids, if you cooking, try to get everything done before the sun go down. If you out shopping and stuff, you in Walmart looking through them little openings up there. You know what I'm talking about? You got the whole, y'all be looking at it, see if it's bright outside. But we try to do that before the sun go down, right? So this is what happened here. After Jesus died and got up from the grave, Mary was looking for him. And it says, in the end of the Sabbath, as it began to dawn toward the first day of the week. So when we get ready to end this Sabbath, this evening, it's gonna take us into Sunday. But if you pay attention now, it don't go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and etc. It don't keep going, does it? It stops and resets, right? Because Saturday is the end of the week, and what's gonna happen when this ends, we're gonna go into the first day of the week all over again. And it's gonna start all over. Every week it start all over. So like you say, in the end of the Sabbath, as it begins to dawn toward the first day of the week, what happened?
Came Mary Magdalene and the other Mary to see the sepulchre.
So now this ain't in here, but skip down to verse 5. What happened when she got it? What did the angel say?
And the angel answered and said unto the woman, Fear not ye, for I know that ye seek Jesus, which was crucified.
So the angel talking to Mary. Mary looking for Jesus. She came at the end of the day as it began to dawn toward the first day of the week. And I'll make sure I point this out so y'all can use this now. At the end of the Sabbath, as it began to dawn toward the first day of the week. All right? It wasn't Sunday yet. So the angel let Mary know what he said in verse 6.
He is not here.
Right, he already gone. So he couldn't have rose on Sunday morning, right? Right. Because it said he ain't here. So he is not here for what?
He is risen. As he said, come see the place where the Lord lay.
All right, now let's go into Leviticus chapter 23. Leviticus chapter 23. That's just your basics. We don't really got to hound on it too much because for the most part, we all understand that. That's why we here on the Sabbath. You know what I'm saying? We, for the most part, know it's the 7th day of the week. Kind of know how it generates every week. You know, once again, we come back, we observe the Sabbath. The same way, 52 times in a year, we do the same exact thing. We keep the Sabbath. So we know it for the most part. So we don't really got to hound on that too much. So now let's go see what we are supposed to do and can do on the Sabbath, like rest, convocate, and read the Bible. All right, so we're going to look at Leviticus chapter 23 and verse 1. Leviticus 23, verse 1. Go ahead and read that.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, concerning the feast of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations. Even these are my feasts.
Go ahead.
6 days shall work be done, but the 7th day is the Sabbath of rest, and holy convocation. You shall do no work therein. It is the Sabbath of the Lord in all your dwellings.
Okay, so now, the first one he listed, first and foremost, was, like you say here, he said 6 days work gonna be done. But before we look at that, if you pay attention to what we have here, first and foremost, it's the Lord that's doing the talking, right? It's the Lord that's actually saying this to Moses. Moses is not, making this up, because so many people like to say, well, you keeping that old Sabbath, and that's Moses. Moses gave that. Why y'all trying to hold on to that? Well, listen, we're going to call ourselves serving God, believing in the Bible. All of us got to have one mindset. You understand? God is the one that gave this. That's why I said, and the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them concerning the feast of the Lord. So normally what happens when you have feasts, what goes on? There's some eating going on, right? That's like I was saying last week. We had a feast in the hotel before we moved out of the hotel in Atlanta a few years back. We was going to do the same thing like this. And we have our feast and stuff like that. We have it at the hotel, and I set it up where we end up getting a banquet hall, to have a feast and stuff. And we get there, and the lady, the manager of the hotel, big old hotel down there. I don't know why they pay us any attention. All the people that was coming there, so we ain't really causing no ruckus or nothing, But she said to me, one day we was finna do the feast, and we bringing food in, for the feast. And she said, you ain't supposed to be bringing food in here. I said, well, I told you when we set this up that we were going to be feasting. She said, well, I didn't think y'all really was going to be eating. I said, well, we actually eat. It's a feast. That's what you do on a feast. We're not the type of church we just gonna make up stuff. But it's only one day or certain days. For the most part, all the Lord's feast days, you're gonna do some eating. Besides atonement, you're not gonna. But that's in the list of feast days. The weekly Sabbath is also in the list of feast days, which we're looking at now. But for the most part, all the other, you're not gonna have a great feast on the Sabbath. You're not gonna have a great feast on Day of Atonement. As a matter of fact, on Atonement, you ain't eating nothing on it. But why is it listed in the feast days? Because you're not eating physically, you eating how? You eating mentally, you eating spiritually, you understand? So if you pay attention to how the Lord has laid out his feast days, the first one he put out there is the weekly Sabbath. If you look at it, he say, speak unto the children of Israel, verse 2, say unto them concerning the feast of the Lord, which you shall proclaim to be holy convocations, even these are my feasts. Now, before we move forward, a convocation is just a large formal assembly. You understand? That means you're going to have to come together and have a holy convocation. You got a location inside your city or whatever where we can come together and have church, you need to get a church. Okay? Let's not get carried away with the online stuff. You know, it ain't picking and choosing. God, hey, online wasn't even in the picture back then. Now, I understand some people that may be out of town that can't get to church. You know what I'm saying? That you use that avenue. But don't use this tool to stay home. If you can get to church, get to church. It's a holy convocation. See, sometimes we get caught in our feelings and lose sight of what the commandments say. He says it's a holy convocation. He wasn't asking you. He wasn't, he wasn't, please come and have a holy convocation with you. But no, he says it's a holy convocation, didn't it? So that means you need to be there. Large formal assembly of people. So read verse 3. Go ahead.
6 days shall work be done.
So the first one that's on the list is this weekly Sabbath. He says 6 days work, you're allowed to do some work, right? 6 days should work be done, but what?
The 7th day is the Sabbath of rest. And holy convocation.
Okay, so the 7th day, not the first day, the 7th day is the Sabbath of rest, right? We're supposed to be doing some rest. We're supposed to be chilling, right? But what are we resting from? We're resting from our work just like he did his. You're not going to go off into your, hey, you got all 6 days to do your work. You're going to your job and stuff like that. You got a business. You're going to stop doing that. When it comes to this day, it all belongs to God now. It's his time now. So 6 days should work be done, but the 7th day is the Sabbath of rest, a holy convocation, a holy gathering. That's what this is now. Got to make sure we keep that in mind. See, remember now, we got to look at the basics of the Sabbath, because we lose sight of what God told us to do. You got to have a holy convocation, sisters and brothers. You ain't got no problem getting up every morning, do you? I mean, I know you do. We do have problems getting up going to work, right? Don't nobody want to go to work for the most part. But you go to work, don't you?
Right.
You understand? You know if you don't go to work, you're going to get fired. And more likely, you ain't going to get paid. You can't, that's right, you can't pay them bills. Most of us like to eat, right?
Right.
You on work, you ain't eating. So you got something that's held over your head that's gonna keep you in line. But just understand this. The same with it. You got life, you got death hanging over your head when you disobey sisters, brother. See, one thing we gotta understand, I want to make sure I hammered this point home last week, is that in Romans 6:23, it tells you that the wages of sin is what? It's death. So that means when you break the law, what's on the table for? Death, right? That's what's there. When you break the law, death is right there. What I mean by that is, God got the right to kill you right then on the spot. See, we like to think, well, he'll give us an opportunity. We'll deal with this on Judgment Day. Listen, God can kill you right then. Remember when he told Adam now, the day you eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, you shall surely die. Hey, Adam didn't die a spiritual death, did he? He actually died, and what happened? He went to the grave, didn't he? Right. You understand? Because when you sin against God, listen, the payment for that is death. So when you break God's Sabbath day, now you're at his mercy. It's like I like to tell folks, listen, if God ain't bothering you and beating you up, don't piss him off. Don't do nothing to wake him up. You know how to say, leave the sleeping giant alone? Leave him alone. If you ain't on his radar, he ain't messing with you, he ain't whooping you, don't try to get on his radar. Don't do nothing. Don't break the Sabbath on purpose, and make up all these excuses to sin. Don't listen, that's a big issue among Israel. The Sabbath day, sisters and brothers, because we start getting complacent. But it's real simple though, right? He says a holy convocation. You should do no work there. It is the Sabbath of the Lord in all your dwellings. Regardless of what you might have been told, because I was taught it also. Not trying to hound or beat up anybody or be disrespectful to my teacher. I ain't talking about a lot, because we teach the same thing. But I ain't gonna say what I'm talking about, because most of us have been taught this, that listen, when you come into the truth, the master don't really keep the Sabbath. So God understands that. If y'all ain't heard that before, I'm letting you know you can't read that nowhere. That's right. You cannot read that because your master don't keep the Sabbath. God understands that you can, that's your ox in the ditch now. You got to be able to go into the Bible and show me that. Show me where God said, when we go into captivity, If our master don't keep the Sabbath, talking about your boss on your job, and they make you come in, you got to go. Where is that at? He says the Sabbath is rest in all your dwellings, sisters and brothers. You didn't think he didn't know you was going into captivity? You go to Deuteronomy chapter 30, he laid it out there. He told you was going into captivity, he told you what's going to happen, and when you're going to start coming back from captivity. So he knew it was going to happen. So he's letting you know, listen, you're going to have to keep this no matter where you at. Like I like to tell people, listen, it's going to be, it's just a test of your faith. How you think you're going to be able to deal with the great tribulation and all this stuff that's getting ready to come down the pipes toward Israel in the church? How you going to be able to deal with that if you can't tell your boss at your job, look, I'm not working on the Sabbath day? See, we want to be spiritual now. We want to know all the different things in the Bible. We want to expand our knowledge and stuff, but we can't deal with the basic things of keeping the Sabbath day. That's real simple. That's the first thing he said. Always remember what the order was when he gave it. Told you how to deal with him as a God, didn't he? First 4 commandments. Don't have no other God before me. No graven images. Don't take his name in vain, stuff like that. Then I think one more. Then right after that, he went right into what? Remember the Sabbath day. He didn't go into thou shalt not kill it. He didn't go into honor your mother and your father. He didn't go into thou shalt not commit adultery. The next thing he said was what? Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. See, evidently this must be important because when you drop the ball throughout the week, guess what? Just get back to church because we can go in and regroup. That's why you look at Jeremiah chapter 17. Israel was dropping the ball all over the place. God got down to the point where he told Jeremiah, listen, just tell them if they keep the Sabbath, I'll keep them in the land. You mean to tell me the God that sit on high is bargaining with a man when he got every right to kill him? Evidently, this Sabbath must be important. The Lord was just like, look, if y'all just keep the Sabbath, I'll let y'all stay inside Jerusalem. By that time, we had already went off, but he was, just trying to hold on. Y'all just listen, I'm going to give you one more chance. Just keep the Sabbath. Then we can fix this. And that's the point what you have to understand. When you're keeping the Sabbath, man, listen, we can regroup. Yeah, you're going to catch some hell throughout the week. Put it down when you come to church. Because believe me, after class, that hell's going to be still waiting now. You know what I'm saying? But leave it alone. But every week, you're going to have to make an effort. You're going to have to put, that's work. You're going to have to keep the Sabbath. You're going to have to discipline yourself, sisters and brothers. That's very important. And a lot of people are going to drop the ball, end up in the lake of fire because they cannot keep the Sabbath day. But now let's move a little forward. Let's go over to Luke chapter 4. We're going to skip Hebrews chapter 4. Hebrews chapter 4, that'll take us another 30 minutes by itself. Y'all want to discuss that after class, we can do that. Luke chapter 4. Mr. Jesus, after he came out of the wilderness, after he got baptized, now you can get ready to go and start ministering the gospel, preaching and healing and stuff like that. Let's see what he did first. Luke chapter 4, pick this up at verse 16. Luke 4, verse 16, what does that say?
And he came to Nazareth, where he had been brought up. And as his custom was, he went into the synagogue on the Sabbath day and stood up for it to read.
Now notice what his custom was. He went into the synagogue when? On the Sabbath day. His custom, his tradition, his manner of life, sisters and brothers. That's what's attached to Jesus. People like to ask the question, what would Jesus do? Listen, if Jesus was here today, you know what he'd do? He'd be in church today. He would not be in church tomorrow. Because he kept the Sabbath. That was his custom. That was his way of life. And he came to Nazareth, where he had been brought up, where he was raised at. And as his custom was, he went into the synagogue, talking about church, on the Sabbath day. So the Sabbath day, once again, is what? 7th day of the week, right?
Right.
Just like us. So if you're going to be a Christian, you're going to call yourself Christ-like, then you got to do the things that Christ did. You understand? Your life going to have to mirror his. We want to have all these different things where we can make up, everybody want to have, like somebody telling me yesterday, you got your truth, I got my truth. Listen, that's just a way for you to be justify your sin. I don't have a truth. That's the case, my lie can become a truth. I don't have a truth. It's only one truth, and it's what the Bible says. And I'm telling you, when it comes to religion and Christianity and all that type of stuff, listen, we don't have all our truths. It's only one Lord, one faith, one baptism. Whatever the Lord said do, that's what we have to abide by. We call ourselves Christians, sisters and brothers. And what we're looking at here His custom was, talking about Jesus, he went into the synagogue on the Sabbath day and stood up for the what?
Read.
Catch the Holy Ghost.
Read.
Scream and shout.
Read.
He stood up for the read, right? You know, it's just funny how we got all these different levels of education in the world, and most of all these different levels of education, higher learning, they all require you to do some reading. But when it comes to the most important thing in the world, you finding out about your salvation, it requires you to do some jumping and shouting. Running around the church and all that type of stuff. Speaking in tongues. But what did Jesus do? Jesus stood up to read, sisters and brothers. That's when we go. That's why when we come to church, what we do, we read, don't we? Like I said last week, 15% of the time that we in church, you might get a little singing. Today we ain't do that, you know. But you might get a little singing, you know. Most you're going to get is 2 songs unless it's on the feast day or something. You ain't going to be no jumping and shouting and all that. You're going to get some songs and sit down. You know, then after class, we're going to do a little eating and stuff like that. That's your 15% right there. Other 85%, you know what we're doing? We're dealing with the Bible. You give all your time, you know, for the most part, when we in, like I said, in school and stuff, that's what you're doing. You read, man. You read and you studying. Well, this is the most important thing right here, something that's going to take you into everlasting life. So what you think you should be doing? You should definitely be reading and learning what you need to do to get salvation, sisters and brothers. So he said, there was delivered, verse 17, read that.
And there was delivered unto him the book of the prophet Isaiah.
Uh-huh.
And when he had opened the book, he found the place where it was written.
Uh-huh.
The Spirit of the Lord is upon me.
Right, so he's taking it back to Isaiah. That's what his Isaiah is. That's just a translation. But I just want to show you what he did when he got into the church. His custom was he went to church on the Sabbath day, right? Went into the synagogue. That was his custom. And he stood up to read. But he didn't just read some Joel Osteen book, something that make you feel good. He went back and read Isaiah. That's the prophet. So that's to let you know, give you an example of what we should be doing, right? We should be reading the Old Testament. Not going to a church where they're telling you that you ain't got to read the Old Testament. But, like I was saying the other day to somebody, it just makes sense why they didn't want us to read the Testament. Matter of fact, it makes sense why they didn't want us reading the Bible at all when we came over here slaves. You know what I'm saying? Because you start reading that Old Testament, you're going to see you in there all day. So I don't think they was beating us for reading any other type of book. It just makes sense to me now that they was beating us for reading this Bible. So like you say here, there was delivered unto him the book of the prophet Isaiah, or Isaiah. And when he had opened the book, he found a place where it was written. I think that's Isaiah 61. But the point is he was reading out of the Old Testament. So now that we got the Old Testament and the New Testament, that's what we read both out, to the law and the testament. That's how we do it now. So that's what you can do on the side. You can read your Bible. You go to churches. And these things you should be doing on the Sabbath day. All right? So now let's move a little further. Let's go to Mark chapter 3. Mark 3. Mark 3, we're going to pick this up at verse 1. Mark 3 and verse 1, we're going to read that song.
And he entered again into the synagogue, and there was a man there which had a withered hand.
Jesus always going to church with him. He said, entered again into the synagogue, and there was a man there which had a withered hand. So right out the gate, evidently there's a problem. Jesus and a man with a withered hand, so you more likely know what's about to happen. It's about, it's going to be some healing that's going to take place, right? So he entered again into the synagogue, and there was a man there which had a withered hand. What else? Verse 2.
And they watched him, whether he would heal him on the Sabbath days, that they might accuse him.
Right, because see, these are the Pharisees, and if you don't know, Pharisees, Sadducees, chief priests and stuff like that, even, Jesus' own people had him murdered, sisters and brothers. So they're trying to find whatever avenue they can to come up with a reason to have Jesus killed. Whatever we can, crack, whatever, any type of, crack we can find, or say that he messed up somewhere, we're going to use everything we can. So now you got a man that's in the church that got a withered hand. And here comes Jesus, but the Pharisees looking at him to see if he going to heal him on the Sabbath day. Not concerned about the brother's health. You got somebody in here that got a ailment going on. Like the brother, he came, we talked this last month. I think December might have been. He talked, we prayed for the brother, right? Or what if we were like, nah, bro, we can't do it today. We need to wait because it's a Sabbath day. That don't make sense to me. But you can do that. You can pray for this brother. We can, because listen, this is considered good, sisters and brothers, which we gonna see. He said they watched him whether he would heal him on the Sabbath day that they might accuse him. So they got a totally different agenda. They ain't really worried about the brother being healed. They trying to catch Jesus up. Go ahead and read.
And he said unto the man, which had the withered hand, stand forth.
So he told the man with the withered hand to come here, in other words. Stand forth, keep reading.
And he said unto them.
So he said unto them, talking about the Pharisees. Because remember, they watching him to accuse him. So he said unto them what?
Is it lawful to do good on the Sabbath day? Or to do evil?
Keep reading.
To save life or to kill?
Now that's a legitimate question, right? He's looking at the Pharisees. He asked them, is it lawful to do good on the Sabbath day or to do evil? He gonna give you the comparisons, because right after that he said what? To save life or to kill. So does it make sense for us just to let this brother suffer like this? Or should we heal him? Is it lawful for us to kill him? Save him, or just let him die, or let his hand stay like that? In this case, because that's really what was going on. His hand was with him. Is it lawful to do good on the Sabbath day or to do evil? Right? To save life or to kill? Go on and read.
But they held their peace.
Right, they ain't say nothing. They couldn't answer. Like I told you, their agenda was to catch Jesus up anyway. Inside your mind, your mama sick or something like that, your father's sick, you gonna want him to be healed, ain't you? You ain't gonna sit up there. But when you got a totally different agenda trying to have Jesus killed, you let that evil overtake you. And that's exactly what was going on with these Pharisees. What he saying, verse 5?
And when he had looked round about them, on them with anger, being grieved for the hardness of their hearts.
The Lord was mad at them, though, wasn't he? It said when he looked on them, round about on them with anger, being grieved for the hardness of their heart, he said what?
Stretch forth thine hand. And he stretched it out. And his hand was restored whole as the other.
So evidently it's okay to do good on the Sabbath day, right? Evidently it's okay to heal on the Sabbath day, right? See, you can do that. That's like I gave an example about a cousin of mine that passed, I think it might have been last year sometime. But the point is, he got sick, and me and Jediah, we had to go out there and pray for the brother on the Sabbath day. Then me and Brother Joseph turned around and went back like a month later and prayed for him on the Sabbath day. We went out there, took put oil on him and stuff like that. His mother not being in the word, all they can do is cry because they think death is at the door. We the priest of God, man. We're gonna put some oil on him. We're gonna pour it on him while he got tubes in his head. We're gonna pour oil on y'all too. We're gonna pray, and we're gonna believe God for this brother to get up. And he got up. You understand what I'm saying? But we did what we did what the Bible shows us to do on the Sabbath day. You understand? See, they looking at it as, well, we just want to have Jesus killed. We trying to get him killed, and believe me, you read about Jesus in the commandment, you'll see in the Gospels how they lied on Jesus. But the point was, it ain't nothing wrong with you doing this on the Sabbath. Somebody call you, need some prayer. Don't be so deep where we can't do it today. They about to die. You gonna wait till sundown. That don't make sense, do it? I got like 2 more hours left. We'll be there. Yeah, 2 hours. They say she on the last leg. Yeah, just tell her we'll be there in a couple hours. And, go and pray for her, man. You can do that. But you still got to have understanding now. That don't mean you just take the liberty and just like, well, we're going to go to the hospital every Saturday. You know what I'm saying? Like, listen, they got doctors to take care of that. You know what I'm saying? But some situations, hey, if there ain't no healing going on in the world, when the Lord get back, the Lord say he ain't going to find no faith when you get here. You know what I'm saying? If he ain't doing some miracles, he said, where's the faith going to be at? Ain't nobody going to come back, ain't nobody going to believe. So he'll use us as vessels sometimes, but so you ain't got to be so deep. You can do that. But at the same time, you still got to have a just balance. You got to know, like, yeah, okay, we can wait till afterwards, or we can go take care of it now. Like I said, in that situation there, we dealt with church. We went on to have class and stuff like that. After we dismissed from class, You know, we let Brother DeMarcus and all other brothers take care of Bible study. Me and JD was like, we had already knew we was gonna go after class. So you see what I'm saying? We weren't gonna stop church, you know, because he was already laying there. Ain't nothing he can do. He was just laying there in a coma. They had to put him in a coma because his brain was messed up. So it wasn't nothing. We couldn't drive over there and stop the service of God. You see what I'm saying? So you gotta know, you gotta know when to make that type of decision of how you're gonna do it. But the point is, hey, you can do some praying that day, sisters and brothers. You're still dealing with God's business. You still represent the Lord. All right, that's why he says here, is it lawful to do good on the Sabbath, verse 4, on the Sabbath day, or to do evil, to save life or to kill, but to hear their peace? Read 5 again.
And when he had looked round about on them with anger, being grieved for the hardness of their hearts, he said unto the man, stretch forth thine hand. And he stretched it out, and his hand was restored whole as the other.
So he went on the hill, that brother, on the Sabbath day. Flip over to Luke chapter 13. Luke 13. Luke chapter 13. I'll pick this up at verse 10. Luke 13, verse 10, and you go and read that.
And he was teaching in one of the synagogues on the Sabbath. And behold, there was a woman which had a spirit of infirmity 18 years.
Now y'all see here in church again on the Sabbath, right? It said he was teaching in one of the synagogues on the Sabbath, and behold, there was a woman which had a spirit of infirmity 18 years. So she had been dealing with this problem for a long time. 18 years she's been dealing with this issue. Go ahead and read. What else?
And was bowed together and could in no wise lift up herself.
Right, so in other words, she was bowed over, or she, kind of bent over. And they say she couldn't even lift herself up. But she had been dealing with this for 18 years, so evidently this was bad, man. 18 years going through this so bad she can't even lift herself up. What else is said in verse 12?
And when Jesus saw her, he called her to him and said unto her, Woman, thou art loosed from thine infirmity.
So the Lord went on the hill today. He said, Woman, thou art loosed from thy infirmity. Keep reading.
And he laid his hands on her, and immediately she was made straight and glorified God.
Keep reading.
And the ruler of the synagogue answered with indignation.
So now, see, we got a problem. This is why we got to understand. Listen, I understand we come into the truth. I understand we get the word and stuff like that. When you come into the word of God, listen, you expect mostly everybody to be on the same page. But listen, don't come into the word of God and put your guard down, because you're still dealing with man. You understand? And man will let you down, sisters and brothers. That's why you still got to realize that, hey, we all working every week, so, hey, you never know when a brother or sister going to fall short. You understand? But you look at what's going on inside the church. It say what? And the ruler of the synagogue, supposed to be somebody in the over the church. A ruler of the synagogue answered with indignation because what?
Because that Jesus had healed on the Sabbath day.
Well, you think everybody be happy, right? Because Jesus done healed this woman on the Sabbath day. He got a problem. That's why I say he answered with indignation. He was upset about that. Because that Jesus had healed on the Sabbath day and said unto the people what?
There are 6 days in which men ought to work. In them, therefore, come and be healed. And not on the Sabbath day.
That don't make sense, do it? That don't make a bit of sense. He said there are 6 days in which men ought to work. In other words, you could have healed her Sunday. You could have healed her on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You had 6 days to heal this woman. Don't heal her on the 7th day. That's what he said, ain't it? He said what? There are 6 days in which men ought to work. And them, therefore, come and be healed, and not on the Sabbath day. Go ahead and read. What else?
The Lord then answered him and said,
Go ahead.
Thou hypocrite,
keep reading.
Doth not each one of you on the Sabbath loose his ox or his ass from the stall, and lead him away to water?
Go ahead.
And ought not this woman, being the daughter of Abraham, whom Satan hath bound, lo, these 18 years, be loosed from this bond on the Sabbath?
Now pay attention to what the Lord just did. First off, they made the Lord upset again. He was railing on them, man. Pharisees, Sadducees, chief priests, they was going back. I mean, the Lord used to be, going off on them. And I see why he had him. He was just too smart for him. We think Paul was smart. Paul was smart, but man, Jesus was something else. Knowledge he had just to pass these guys. They couldn't do nothing with it. They tell you in another place, they asked him a question, and he answered the question, and from that day forth, they ain't asked him nothing else. So like it say here, it says, verse 15, the Lord then answered him and said, thou hypocrite, doth not each one of you on the Sabbath loose his ox or his ass from the stall and lead him away watering? Now you may not have an ass, or you may not have an ox at your house, but most of us got pets. Well, I got pets. You got pets? You make sure before you leave, y'all got some water in there before you leave the house, right? You're going to have some water there. You understand? You're not going to say, well, it's a Saturday, we're going to drain all the water out. When you come back, you drink when you get back. Y'all going to come back like you were walking through the desert. Come back foaming looking like Cujo. But you're not going to do that, right? No. Well, that would be considered our ox or our ass today. They actually had them animals. And in other words, before, they went off into what they had to do, they would take the ass or they'd take the ox to go get some water. They'd loose him to let him go get some water on the Sabbath day. That's why God is making this comparison. He said, you hypocrite, thou hypocrite, does not each one of you on the Sabbath loose his ox or his ass from the stall and lead him away to watering? You take him to go get some water on the Sabbath. And ought not this woman, being a daughter of Abraham, who Satan hath bound, lo, these 18 years be loosed from this bond on the Sabbath day? So you loose your animal to go get some water. I can't heal this sister and loose her from the power of Satan on the Sabbath. She's been in captivity for 18 years. And I can't loose her on the Sabbath. I can't loose her on it. Don't you loose your animals, go get no water then. But what he's showing them, listen, man, y'all going about this wrong, man. Y'all going about this completely wrong. Y'all some hypocrites. So that's it on that? Yeah, read 17.
And when he had said these things, all his adversaries were ashamed, and all the people rejoiced for all the glorious things that were done by him.
Right, yeah, you got other people that are looking on him that are happy, though. But notice what he's doing on the Sabbath. He healed this sister on the Sabbath, sisters and brothers. There ain't nothing wrong with you praying for somebody. If somebody going through some stuff, listen, we the saints. What you supposed to do? You bring them to the church. I ain't gonna be so deep about it and say, well, we're gonna wait till Saturday, wait till Sunday, or wait till sundown. Listen, man, hey, we finished with class, whatever, let's go and pray. But we seen Jesus doing that, right? These are things that we're allowed to do on the Saturday, sisters and brothers. So we don't get too far out and get so deep about it. All right, but now let's go to Luke chapter 14. One chapter over, Luke 14. Luke 14 and verse 1. Luke 14 and verse 1. What did that say, Nate?
And it came to pass, as he went into the house of one of the chief Pharisees to eat bread on the Sabbath day, that they watched him.
They always watching Jesus. Once again, it's the Sabbath day, right? Went into the house, one of the Pharisees to eat bread on the Sabbath day. They was watching him. Go ahead.
And behold, there was a certain man before him which had the dropsy. And Jesus answering spake unto the lawyers and Pharisees, saying, is it lawful to heal on the Sabbath day? And they held their peace. And he took him and healed him and let him go.
Right, so he asked him, is it lawful to heal on the Sabbath day? Another, different incident. He said, is it lawful to heal on the Sabbath day? They held their peace, and he took him and healed him and let him go, right? But I wanted y'all to see this in verse 5. What did he say?
And answered them, saying, which of you shall have an ass or an ox fallen into a pit, and will not straightway pull him out on the Sabbath day?
Now pay attention, because I know we like to go here sometimes, and we like to, a lot of us like to use this with my ox in the ditch. But listen, in this example right here, pay attention to what the Lord is saying. He said, which of you should have an ass or an ox fallen into a pit, and will not straightway pull him out on the Sabbath day? Talking to these guys, if you got an animal, because back then, they had animals. And he fall into a ditch, hey, they gonna into a pit, they gonna get him out. You understand? But evidently, evidently it wasn't on purpose. It ain't like you go push the ox in the pit, do you? So you can jump down and get him out. You know what I'm saying? He fell in there. So I want to make sure we understand you can't use this as an example to say that your job, you got to go to work, that's your ox in the ditch. Because people say, you know, I got to go to work, that's my ox in the ditch. That ain't your ox in the ditch. Your ox in the ditch, let me give you an example. You come to church, your tire ended up flat. You need to call somebody to come get you, get it done after Sabbath, we'll take care of it, or go and get out the car and change the tire right quick and get on the church. You understand? Your ox in the ditch. You know what I'm saying? You come to church, somebody gets sick, you know what I'm saying? You need to run to the hospital. Don't handle that, man. That's your ox in the ditch. Get them out the ditch. But don't use these excuses about your job being an ox in the ditch when you purposely took the job knowing that you more likely going to have to work on a Saturday. That ain't no ox in the ditch. That's lack of faith. That's what that is. Let's just call it what it is. Let's stop playing with it, because I hear people in the truth that's been in the truth for years that say, you know, well, I got to go to work, my ox is in the ditch. That's a lie. That's not your ox. You don't have faith in God being able to deliver you or give you a better job. And what you need to do is just be honest. Just say, Lord, help thou my unbelief. Mark chapter 9, when the brother had a son that was sick with the palsy. Lord said, you believe? He said, Lord, I believe, but hey, help my unbelief. So let's stop playing with it. Let's not sit up here and try to use that as an excuse. Just come straight out and say, look, man, my faith ain't there. I need some help. I need somebody to pray for me, man, because I need help. I can't walk away from it. But don't sit up there and try to, don't try to outsmart God. You can't like I said last week, man, you can't outsmart God. God knows what's in your mind. He knows that's where you lacking faith at. You know, like I say, people like to say, well, I got to go to work. That's my ox in the ditch. Listen, that's not the case. That is not your ox in the ditch. Your ox in the ditch is something unexpected come up. You understand? If you're going to have to deal with that right quick to get that taken care of. That's it. You didn't expect this. You didn't plan for this to happen. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Now you're in a situation where you got to fix the situation right quick. Well, it may take you all day. It's an emergency. You're going to sit up there, somebody sick in your house, child sick, you're going to sit there and just let them be sick? Or we're going to go to church. Because God, He gonna mess around and kill us if we, take you to the hospital. That's dumb. Take the child to the hospital. You understand? You got an ox in the ditch. Get him out the ditch. But don't be ignorant. Don't try to throw your job out there and say my job is my ox. Make sure make sure we hound on that, because if you ain't heard, you probably will hear. But that's what's being said inside the church, sisters and brothers, and that's not the case. That is not your ox in the ditch. You put yourself in a situation because you lacking faith, and you just got to get your faith up. And then on top of that, listen, remember now, the wages of sin is death. So if you agreed to God before you got baptized that you was going to keep his commandments now, because remember now, the covenant is based on some words, right? Remember Exodus 19? Matter of fact, I think, let me see here. Yeah, we ain't going, we going there, but we not going to read it. But in Exodus 19, around verse 6, I think Exodus 19, Exodus 24. The Lord told Moses, when he called Moses up to the mount, he gave Moses some words and stuff like that, wrote some things down, gave it to Moses. Moses came down to the people, read it off to the people. You know what the people said? All the words of the Lord we will do, right? Mm-hmm. And be obedient. That's exactly what they said. And then Moses took the blood of the animals and sprinkled it on the altar and sprinkled it on the people and said, behold, the blood of the covenant which the Lord hath enjoined unto you. But it was based on what? It was based on some words. And there was an agreement. The Lord said, do this. The people agreed to it. So when you get baptized, guess what you're agreeing to? You're agreeing to keeping God's Sabbath day. You're agreeing to keeping his feast day. You're agreeing to keeping his dietary law. You understand what I'm saying? And on the other end of that, by you being obedient to that, guess what you get? You get everlasting life. You can't beat that. You can't get everlasting life by yourself. He giving it to you in exchange for you being obedient. However, once you break that commandment, now you done sinned. And guess what is at the end of sin?
Yeah.
Death. So just understand that now. So don't try to use that to justify what you're doing. You're breaking the Sabbath, you're working on the Sabbath. That's absolutely wrong, sisters and brothers. You shouldn't be doing it. So now let's move a little forward. Let's go a little forward. Let's go over to Exodus chapter 16. Exodus 16. Like I said, I know it may not sound good, but listen, it's necessary. It's necessary because it's the basic things. We lose sight of the basic things trying to get all the heavy stuff. You know what I'm saying? We got to come back. We got to, pull ourselves in back to the simple things. The things that you were first introduced to when you came to the Word of God. Everybody's introduced. One of the first things we do when we come into the Word, besides finding out that we Israel, once we find out we Israel, you know what happens after that? We start keeping the Sabbath day. And there ain't no floating Sabbath either. Sabbath don't float, sisters and brothers. Floating Sabbath is based on the moon. That's how they do it. When the new moon come in, they'll count 7 days. And then the following 7 days, that's the Sabbath day. That's how they do it. But let me make sure you understand something. The moon don't determine a day, sisters and brothers. The sun is what determines another day, not the moon. The moon determines, months. When a new month takes place. That's why, month is short for moon. Moon is short for month. So the sun ain't what determines it. So you pay attention to how it operates every week. Like I said earlier, it's 1 through 7. It start over again, don't it? 1 through 7, start over again. So there is no floating Sabbath. Just like Jesus did. 1 through 7, sisters and brothers. Exodus chapter 16, pick this up at verse 3. What does that say?
And the children of Israel said unto them, Would to God we had died by the hand of the Lord in the land of Egypt, when we sat by the flesh pots, and when we did eat bread to the full. For ye have brought us forth into this wilderness, to kill this whole assembly with hunger. Then said the Lord unto Moses, Behold, I will rain bread from heaven for you. And the people shall go out and gather a certain rate every day, that I may prove them whether they will walk in my law or no.
That's right, keep reading.
And it shall come to pass that on the 6th day they shall prepare that which they bring in, and it shall be twice as much as they gather daily. Okay, so now what we got going on here, they're going to have 6 days to gather. First and foremost, Israel complaining because they're in the wilderness, they ain't got some food, so they want to go back into slavery. And that's something that's just like it's going to be with us when we get out into the wilderness, man. The Lord say He's going to kill off the rebels in the wilderness. You leaving your house, and matter of fact, God gonna come and deliver us out of Egypt. Because we so used to this lifestyle, some people ain't gonna be able to take that being in the desert. They want to go back. Go right back into captivity. Well, ain't no different. This is exactly what was going on back then. He said, the children of Israel said unto them, Would to God we had died by the hand of the Lord of Egypt, when we sat by the flesh pot. They ain't say nothing about the slavery, all they worry about is food. That's Israel, ain't it? So when we sat by the flesh pot, we did eat bread to the full. We was straight, man. For ye have brought us forth into this wilderness to kill this whole assembly with hunger. Go ahead and read. And
4 again.
Then said the Lord unto Moses, Behold, I will rain bread from heaven for you.
So pay attention. The Lord gonna send bread down. They complain they ain't got no food, but the Lord gonna show them something. He said, I'm going to rain bread down from heaven for you. Go ahead.
And the people shall go out and gather a certain rate every day, that I may prove them whether they will walk in my law or no.
Right, so every day they're going to go out, they're going to gather this food that the Lord's going to rain from heaven. This is what, another place called it now. But they're going to go out every day and gather a certain rate. All right, what it said in verse 5?
And it shall come to pass that on the 6th day they shall prepare that which they bring in, and it shall be twice as much as they gather daily.
Okay, so when we get to the 6th day, what's going to happen? They're going to gather twice as much, right? Because evidently on the 7th day, you ain't going to be out there gathering. And if you just pay attention to how we do things, this is why we do so much, on the 6th day, on Friday, we trying to do everything we can. Every week we buying food. I don't even care if we just went and bought groceries. We still going out to get some more on Friday for the Sabbath day. Every week. That's like an extra bill in the house. Not complaining, I'm just saying it's an extra bill. You need to put that with, your light bill, Sabbath, water bill, Sabbath. Because every week. And somehow or another, I don't care what we gonna do, man. Somehow or another, the Lord provide. Every Friday, He provide. You don't pay that in the team. You always provide, man, for you to have enough to do what you got to do on the Sabbath, man. But if you pay attention to how we do it, we always prepare. You know, Friday before sundown, and then like, you know, you go shopping or whatever, you're gonna shop for the Sabbath day, right? Because on Saturday, you ain't going out to go buy no food. On any Sabbath, you ain't going out to buy. But we're just looking at the 6th day here. He said, well, it's going to come to pass on the 6th day that they shall prepare that which they bring in, and it shall be twice as much as they gather daily. Skip down to verse 16 and read that.
This is the thing which the Lord hath commanded.
Uh-huh.
Gather of it every man according to his eating, and omer for every man according to the number of your persons.
So he told it to the elders, and matter of fact, this is not coming to effect what the Lord was talking to him about. Now the food is coming down. So he said, this is the thing which the Lord hath commanded. Gather that every man according to his eating. The omer for every man according to the number of your persons. Take ye every man for them which are in his tents. Go ahead.
And the children of Israel did so, and gathered, some more, some less. And when they did meet it with an omer, he that gathered much had nothing over.
Go ahead.
And he that gathered little had no lack. They gathered every man according to his eating.
Every day they did this, right? One done left over, right? Everybody had enough though. Go ahead.
And Moses said, let no man leave of it till the morning. Notwithstanding, they hearkened not unto Moses, but some of them left of it until the morning, and it bred worms, and stank. And Moses was wroth with them.
Right, go ahead.
And they gathered it every morning, every man according to his eating, and when the sun waxed hot, it melted.
Keep reading.
And it came to pass that on the 6th day they gathered twice as much bread, 2 omers for one man, and all the rulers of the congregation came and told Moses.
Okay, so now they gathered, you know, like you told them every day they gathered, right? Certain rate for everybody. But they need to eat this. Don't save none of it up for the next day. Lord told them not to do it. Some of them disobeyed. I mean, hey, we are our Father's children. Some of them disobeyed, and it ended up turning into worms. But he told them, listen, don't try to hold on to none of it. You know what I'm saying? Then on the next day, you do that, you know, it's going to turn to worms, but pay attention to what's going to happen on the 7th day, though. See, the Lord's showing them something. All they got to do is just be obedient. All right, so what he said in verse 22?
And it came to pass that on the 6th day, they gathered twice as much bread, 2 omers for one man, and all the rulers of the congregation came and told Moses.
Go ahead. And
he said unto them, this is that which the Lord hath said. Tomorrow is the rest of the holy Sabbath unto the Lord.
So they went on to deal with, they gathered double on the 6th day, right? The following day, which would be the 7th day, this is the rest of the Lord, right? Notice what the Sabbath is, the day of rest, right? It's what God has set up. Now you're not going to get, it's not going to be no work in here on this day. Only type, listen, only type of work we doing today, only type of work we dealing with, like Brother Josh is working right now. But is he doing his own work? Working for the Lord. He doesn't cease from his own work though. Like you ain't going to your job, right?
No.
Likewise. You see what I'm saying? Everybody's doing some work. We got bodyguards at the door. They're not doing it for us though, they're doing it for the Lord. We call them ushers though. You know what I'm saying? Hey, but they doing this for the Lord. Ain't nobody gonna come here. Ain't nobody gonna come and act the fool, right? You know what I'm saying? Hey, but that's for the Lord though. You see what I'm saying? We teach, we come up here. This is for the Lord though. But we're not going to our own job. That's the point. We cease from our own work. So he said unto them, this is that which the Lord hath said. Tomorrow is the rest of the holy Sabbath unto the Lord. Do what?
Bake that which you will bake today. And see that you will see.
Right, so hey, go and bake what you're gonna bake. Whatever you're gonna boil, go ahead and do that on the 6th day. Keep reading.
And that which remain over, lay up for you to be kept until the morning.
So hey, now on the 7th day, that whatever you have more, whatever's left over, hey, you can leave it up until tomorrow morning. Because on the 7th day, the Lord ain't gonna allow it to rot. He ain't gonna let it turn into worms. You see? Because on the 7th day, hey, you ain't gonna be able to go out into the field and get nothing. You know, I like I said last week, I tried. I might leave something. I don't try it, but I'll wake up in the morning on a Saturday night. Saturday morning, I'll go look in the kitchen if we left something out by mistake. And I'll look and try to see if there's any roaches or any ants or anything. There'll be nothing there. There'll be nothing there. I'm like, wow, man, you know what I'm saying? Do it on a Monday too. You probably gonna tear it up, man. So he said, that which remained over lay up for you to be kept until the morning. And what he said in verse 24.
And they laid it up to the morning, as Moses bade,
Uh-huh.
and it did not stink,
Mm-hmm.
neither was there any worm therein.
Right, but all the other 6 days, if they left anything over, then there was some worms and stuff with it. But on the 7th day, listen, it was nothing. God showed them something. Because you got 6 days to take care of all of that. Then on the 6th day, you're going to gather double. On the 7th day, listen, it's a day of rest. He's not going to allow it to even spoil. Go ahead and read, verse 26. I'm sorry, 25.
And Moses said, Eat that today, for today is the Sabbath unto the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Today ye shall not find it in the field.
Right, so it makes sense why he told him to gather it, gather double on the 6th day, right?
Mhm.
Just think about it, we was, in that time where, we live like that today. Mentally, we already do it, though. We go out to the shops or whatever and get up whatever we got to get. We trying to get home and get everything prepared. So we already kind of there, you know what I'm saying? But just think we had our own, we was at home in our land and stuff like that. This would be automatic. This would be automatic. It'd be going on like this. Everybody be doing it. So he said, Moses said, eat that today, for today is the Sabbath unto the Lord. Today you shall not find it in the field. So it's not no need for you even going out to the store, in other words. Even though we know the store is there and stuff like that, but back then, hey, they went out to the field, it wasn't there. He wasn't going to have it out there. So, this will let you know something. Ain't no need us. We need to take care of all our stuff. On the 7th day, we need to be in church. That's for the Lord. We don't need to be out there. Evidently, it had to be a reason why he didn't allow it to come down on the 7th day anyway. Ain't want them out there working. Ain't want them out there taking care of this. That's why I told them to bake and see what you're going to do on this day, the 6th day. On the 7th day, listen, you ain't doing none of that. You chilling on this day. What he say in verse 27?
And it came to pass that there went out some of the people on the 7th day.
But you still got some hard-headed folks, right? They just got to go see. He said what? It came to pass that there went out some of the people on the 7th day for what?
To gather, and they found none.
Right, because he told them 6 days are going to be out there. On the 7th they ain't going to be out there. But they still had to test the Lord and see for themselves. It wasn't that. Go on and read.
And the Lord said unto Moses,
How
long refuse you to keep my commandments and my laws?
Mm-hmm.
See, for that the Lord hath given you the Sabbath, therefore he give you on the 6th day the bread of 2 days.
Right, so he gave you the Sabbath. The Sabbath is what, though? That's a day of rest. That's that means you're going to rest, sisters and brothers. You ain't doing no work. You ain't going out there to go in the field looking for no food. None of that, right? So he says, see, for that the Lord hath given you the Sabbath, therefore, he give you on the 6th day the bread of 2 days. So he gave you twice on the 6th day. So you ain't even got to come out here on the 7th day. Go ahead.
Abide you every man in his place. Let no man go out of his place on the 7th day.
Go ahead.
So the people rested on the 7th day.
Right, so that don't mean you don't go to church. If you read everything in context, why he told them not to go out on the 7th day. Why he made them sit still? Because they still want to go out there and gather some stuff anyway. So you can't use this to say, well, we ain't supposed to be going to church, because some people say that. I'm overzealous Hebrews. They do say that. See, we don't need to come out of our house and stuff. That ain't what it's talking about. When you read everything in context, you see what it's talking about. The Lord told them don't gather on the 7th day. They was disobedient. They're going to try to do it anyway. So because of that, he said, listen, stay at, don't even come out. Now we go to Leviticus 23, where the Lord has said the Levitical priesthood and stuff like that. Now he let them know what? You're going to have a holy gathering, holy convocation. You coming out to go to church and fellowship on the 7th day. Flip over to Exodus 31. Exodus chapter 31. Exodus 31, and pick this up at verse 12. right, go ahead.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak thou also unto the children of Israel, saying, Verily my Sabbaths you shall keep, for it is a sign between me and you throughout your generations.
Okay, so now notice who's doing the talking again, right? It said the Lord spake unto Moses, right? Saying, Speak thou also unto the children of Israel, saying, Verily my Sabbath ye shall keep, right? And that's what all his Sabbath you should keep, but he's speaking specifically about a certain one here. But you're going to keep all the Lord's Sabbath. That's why you see that S right there. But we're just talking about how frequent this one comes around. He said, what? Speak thou also unto the children of Israel, saying, Verily my Sabbath ye shall keep for what?
It is a sign between me and you throughout your generations.
Right, so listen, not only are you going to be raised up with this, keeping the Sabbath, you're going to also raise your children up, keeping the Sabbath as well. You understand? And it's going to go down. Once they grow up, they're going to pass it along. They grow up, they're going to pass it along. You see what I'm saying? It's a sign between us and the Lord throughout our generation, sisters and brothers. Go ahead and read. What else?
That you may know that I am the Lord that doth sanctify you.
Uh-huh.
You shall keep the Sabbath, therefore, for it is holy unto you.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone that defileth it shall surely be put to death.
So y'all see that, right? Everyone that defiles the Sabbath shall surely be put to death. See, notice this is on the table first. This is on the table before your job comes out. You know what I'm saying? Because I have to make sure I, clarify this, because I think I got a call a few weeks ago about vacationing on the Sabbath. You know what I'm saying? Taking vacations around, going on cruises and stuff like that. And would it be okay if, husband and wife are in the room while this is going on? Listen, the Sabbath day is already here before your vacation even came up. You understand? Like I said last week, I knew we was going on a cruise a few years back, and we planned everything around the Sabbath day. I don't plan my Sabbath around my vacation. The Sabbath was here first. You understand what I'm saying? So what I'm going to do is, if I got a vacation, I'm going to plan my vacation around the Lord's Sabbath day to make sure that I fall right back in line with what was already there in the first place. Why would I take myself out of what God has already established? That don't make sense, do it? Like I said, we went down to Florida. There's a congregation in Jacksonville. We went to Jacksonville. I ended up teaching in Jacksonville. My father lived, I'm from Jacksonville. So it just so happened after class, went and stayed at my dad's house. Next morning, me and my family got up, drove to Orlando. We ported from Orlando, went on the cruise 5 days, got back to Atlanta, got back on land. It was early Friday morning. Made it to Atlanta, made sure we bought all our stuff, and made it back to Atlanta, on the Saturday. We was back. And then we was at church the next day, teaching for Sabbath class. Because I wasn't going to sit up here and go outside of what God has already established. That don't make sense. When people say, well, what about me and my wife being in the room, on the Sabbath day? You in the room on the ship. You don't put yourself on a cruise ship. Now you're going to be in the room. Then you're going to use the excuse and say, well, when two are gathered, two or more gathered, there will I be also in the midst. Listen, that ain't what Matthew 18 is referring to in the first place. It ain't got nothing to do with that. Got something to do with some beef that's going on with you and your brother. That's what that's talking about. Look at it. Matthew 18, you'll see it. And then on top of that, if you husband and wife, you ain't considered two anyway. You considered one. Stop trying to outsmart God. We think we slick. You understand? I'm telling you, we think we slick, man. We think we can outsmart the Lord. Stop trying to be slick with God. He know what your intentions are, sisters and brothers. He tell you that in Jeremiah chapter 17. You know what your intentions are. Don't try to act like you getting slick. You may talk all that nice stuff to man, but you ain't getting away from God, though. You can tell me all day, well, listen, man, me and my wife, I can fuss back and forth with you all day, but God knows exactly what you're doing. Like I say, when in doubt, don't do it. But at the same time, listen, that's clear as day. Don't put yourself in a situation like that. Like I said last week, a lot of brothers that teach the word of God, they'll put themselves in places where it's going to be a congregation at. Just imagine if I came to church, or our teachers, Elijah came to church, or didn't come to church and stayed at home and watched from the house. And say, well, me and my wife, we going to keep the Sabbath at home with two or more gathered. Y'all won't have nobody preaching for y'all. Y'all just be sitting there, y'all be watching on screen all the time. You know what I'm saying? So look, you don't expect this from us, but y'all get to do it. No, it's good for everybody across the board. All of us have to keep the Sabbath day. You know what I'm saying? But just that vacation stuff, don't try to be slick, sisters and brothers. You know what I'm saying? You gotta have a mentality that this day is very important to us. It's a sign. God sanctified this day. So it gotta be like second nature. First being you breathe. Then outside of that, listen, the word of God is next. And really that's first anyway. I mean, if you understand where I'm coming from, like this is first. I'm gonna do this no matter what. If you gotta take my life, I don't care. I'm still gonna do it. Gotta be to the point like it was with, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. That's how you got to look at this. Like, regardless of what you're going to do. If you're gonna fire me for keeping the Sabbath, then you just got to fire me then. You going to write me up because I ain't come to work on Saturday? I ain't, okay, cool. You shouldn't have changed the schedule on me anyway. You knew this when I first came. Because some situations pop up like that, too. You've been on the job for a long time, and sometimes they just start getting disrespectful. They want to change the shift around. We're going to put you in on Saturday. Well, you got to tell them, well, I ain't going to be here. Just go ahead and write up all them points, all you want to. It don't matter. God bless them with something else. But this got to be that important to us. Listen, this is what separates us between, us and how the world does things. Like he says, and read that verse again. What he said in verse 13. The end of verse 13. It's a sign what?
Between me and you throughout your generations.
that you may know that I am the Lord that doth sanctify you.
That's right. Keep reading.
You shall keep the Sabbath, therefore,
Mm-hmm.
for it is holy unto you.
Go ahead.
Everyone that defileth it shall surely be put to death.
So y'all see how serious this is, right? He said, everyone that defileth shall surely be put to death. Where did he change that, though? Like, where did he say, okay, I changed my mind? You know what I'm saying? Like, don't misunderstand your grace now. You know what I'm saying? Don't, see, some of us, we don't understand the grace. The grace is that the Lord gave you another shot by allowing you to have an opportunity at everlasting life. Don't jump back. Don't do like the pig, return back to, go back into his mire. Don't do that. God done clean you up, but you want to go back and get dirty again. That don't make sense, sister, brother. Because listen, you got death sitting right there at the door. And he can determine when he allows it to happen. That's the thing that we don't understand. We think because we might have slipped by, you do something, you break the Sabbath one day, you think, okay, well, God ain't do nothing, I'm cool. Man, the Lord will hit one of them children of yours. Ooh. You understand what I'm saying? That's why I tell brothers, listen, man, if you're going to do something, don't do it when you get married. I wouldn't advise you doing that anyway, but listen, you got a wife and kids, bro, don't sin against God. Mess around, the Lord hit one of your children, man. Now you sitting up there, you don't know what to do now. See, God don't deal with man the way man deal with man. That's like I was telling, some people last week, my homeboy, one of the brothers down in Jacksonville, Brother Julius, y'all ain't met him yet, but it's another brother down there that we slowly bringing up as far as a teacher. And, he was telling me, he was like, he said, man, my wife told me, man, she said she was going to take my son trick-or-treating because she's slowly trying to come in, but she don't like him dealing with the word. And she said, she was going to take his son trick-or-treating. And he said, what you going to do that for? I don't like that. I don't agree with that. And she said, well, I'm going to take him anyway. She got up and walked out the room, went into the bathroom. Next thing you know, he heard a hurling scream. And he ran in there to see what was wrong with her. She was on the floor. The Lord knocked her knee out of place. Woo. And, she ended up getting better. She went to work the next day. He called her. He ain't had to take her to the hospital, but she was screaming that bad. He called her. She went to work. He called her, checked on her, and she said, I'm all right. She said, I guess I won't be going trick-or-treating. And she told him, she said, the Lord did that. He ain't have to say nothing to her. But the Lord knocked her leg out of place, man. That's what I'm saying. You don't play with God. God ain't gonna do you like man do. You understand? God got angels that be watching everything. Satan be sitting right there too, waiting on you to mess up. Lord, let me get him. Let me get him. Lord, take that hedge off of you, man. You never know what type of punishment he's gonna send. So don't try to play with God, sister and brother. He said, "You shall keep the Sabbath, therefore, for it is holy unto you. Everyone that defileth shall surely be put to death." What did he say?
Whosoever do any work therein, that soul shall be cut off from among his people.
So that's very important, sisters and brothers. Doing work. You ain't going to do no work, sisters and brothers. He say, whosoever do any work therein, that soul shall be cut off from among his people. So this is a serious situation when it comes to breaking God's Sabbath. And we got to make sure we understand that. This is very serious. Nothing to play with, sisters and brothers. Go on and read. What else?
6 days may work be done. But in the seventh is the Sabbath of rest.
Go ahead.
Holy to the Lord.
Wait a minute. So this is, it's holy to God, right? Let me get one of those, please. I see you got some gum over there. Ain't nobody offering me no gum? Nah, what's that? Is that? No, she got some back there. There we go. You can toss it. Thank you, Lord. Appreciate that. So what do you say? 6 days may work be done, but in the seventh is the Sabbath of rest, and all this talking up here. I need some gum. The seventh is Sabbath, holy to the Lord, right? Not to Moses, not to man. This day is holy to the Lord, sisters and brothers. So we have to make sure we understand that. This is something very important to God. What else is that?
Holy to the Lord. Whosoever do any work in the Sabbath day, he shall surely be put to death.
Right, so he broke that down real good. Then he said, whosoever do any work in the Sabbath day, he shall surely be put to death. So it don't matter about you working all the other 6 days. You can do that. It's on the Sabbath day that he's being real strict about. Very adamant about. Go ahead and read verse 16.
Wherefore the children of Israel shall keep the Sabbath, to observe the Sabbath throughout their generations.
Right, so that means when he say the children of Israel shall keep the Sabbath to observe the Sabbath throughout their generation for what?
For a perpetual covenant.
That means forever. That's what perpetual means. Forever, sisters and brothers. Go ahead.
It is a sign between me and the children of Israel forever. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, and on the seventh day he rested.
Oh, so he took you back, right? So he gave you an example of what you're going to do based on what he did also, right? That's why he says, it's a sign between me and the children of Israel forever. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, and on the seventh day he rested, right? And what happened?
Was refreshed.
And was refreshed. So that's what's going to happen with you, sisters and brothers. That's why I told you, listen, you come to church on the Sabbath, you leave all that bickering, all that fighting, all your issues and stuff, leave that stuff outside the doors. When you come in here, listen, it's like this supposed to be our little heaven. I think I said that before. But it's supposed to be, we're supposed to have peace going on, fellowship and having a good time with each other, dealing with the word of God. It's kind of like, it's exactly how it's going to be when Jesus gets back. That's why I tell you the Lord going to go forth from Jerusalem when he gets back, right? But it's going to be peace on earth, sisters and brothers. So on the seventh day, we come to church, listen, we got, peace going on. That's how it should be. That's why I don't try to have no issues on this day. Leave all that stuff at home. When you get done with the Sabbath day, it's going to be right there waiting on you. But you come to church and you're going to get refreshed. Sometimes you catch a lot of hell throughout the week. When you come to church, man, guess what happens? We can put that word inside. You get that word inside you and get you prepared for what's out there in the world. And then by the time the sixth day get here again, you get so used to it that you're looking for the Sabbath again, ain't you? See, that's what happened once it done became it's a part of our fabric now. You understand? It's a part of our life now that we look forward to the Sabbath. When you first come into the word, it takes some time to get adjusted to it. Because we used to doing things according to tradition. You understand? We used to, going to the boss, I can't work on Sunday. I'm not doing Sundays. Then you start dealing with the truth and you got to change that mentality. Then after a while, you've been doing it so long, hey, it's automatic. It's automatic. Hey, it's like I'll fight you over the Sabbath. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, bro, we don't play about this. This is something, we real about this. But he said, on the seventh day he rested and was refreshed. So he's giving you an example of how it's going to be for us on this seventh day. What did he say, verse 18?
And he gave unto Moses, when he made an end of communing with him upon Mount Sinai.
So when he finished communing with Moses upon Mount Sinai, what he gave to him?
2 tables of testimony, 2 tables of stone.
Go ahead.
Written with the finger of God.
Written with the finger of Moses.
God.
So God is the one that wrote it, right? See, evidently it was so important that even when Moses came down in the next chapter, Exodus 32, he saw, Israel had made a molten calf. He took them commandments and smashed it. The Lord said, get on back up there. And we're going to write it down again, because evidently it must be important, sisters and brothers. But God had wrote this with his own finger. Like I said, this ain't nothing Moses made up. God made it. God wrote this, sisters and brothers. That's why I say 2 tables of testimony, tables of stone written with the finger of God. So we got to make sure we understand how important the Sabbath is to the Lord. Flip over to Numbers chapter 15. Because we see it talk about what happened when you break the Sabbath. You know, we saw death sitting right there, sisters and brothers. So let's see this in action. What happened when his brother broke his Sabbath? Numbers chapter 15. Excuse me. Oh yeah, Exodus 35. I'm sorry, Exodus 35. Oh, then we'll go to Numbers 15. Exodus 35. One verse here. Because now we're just showing what we can't do on the Sabbath. All right. Exodus chapter 35. Exodus 35 and one verse here, and we'll move to Numbers 15. Exodus 35, verse 3, what does that say?
You shall kindle no fire throughout your habitations upon the Sabbath day.
Okay, so now one reason I want to always come here is, like I said, we look at some things we can do on the Sabbath, some things we can't do on the Sabbath. Now, you know, for the most part, kindling is when you're going to do all the stuff, you do certain things, you got to work it to get these fires up, how they had to do back in the day. You know, so lighting a lighter ain't so much the same as how it was kindling fire back then. However, you still, you still lighting it, you know what I'm saying? So just to be safe, I wouldn't advise you smoke no cigarette on Sabbath. You understand? You know, like the great example I like to give is how I used to see Brother Jediah. Brother Jediah, you know, he smoked Black and Miles all the time. But he wouldn't do it on the Sabbath. That's one thing I noticed about Brother Jediah. He would not do it on the Sabbath. He would not light up no Black and Miles on the Sabbath day. He'll wait till sundown. And it was like automatic. When that sun went down, he'd go out there and light that Black. He'd be sitting there chilling with his hat turned sideways, smoking that Black and Miles. You know what I'm saying? But he would never do it on the Sabbath day. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, it's almost like, well, if we don't know for sure, let's just not do it. Let's just be safe. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, we understand, like, you still got some things in your house. Like, you take a shower, most people got hot water heaters, you turn the heat on in the house, some people got furnaces and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's a high probability it was mainly pertaining to cooking, sisters and brothers. However, to be safe, because it don't really say anything about what it was for, why he said don't do it, then when you know, just to be safe, just don't do it at all. You know what I'm saying? It's better to be on the safe side, right? You know, because sometimes, hey, I've seen it become a stumbling block to people. So just by us seeing it become a stumbling block, hey, I just seen it, bro. He don't do it at all. He just leave it alone. You know what I'm saying? So my advice to you, just be safe. You know, just wait till after the Sabbath. You know what I'm saying? I know some people got some habits and stuff like that, so I wouldn't consider that a pleasure. You know what I'm saying? Because I got a habit with coffee. You know what I'm saying? And if I don't drink coffee, I get a bad headache. So I know some people may have withdrawals with cigarettes and stuff like that. So I'm not gonna say that's a pleasure. You know what I'm saying? If you ain't never smoked cigarettes, you don't know about how addicting that stuff is. So you can't sit up and be talking to somebody, oh, that's a pleasure, you smoking a cigarette. I ain't said Black and Mild. Well, then again, I don't know, because Brother Jediah bought them things, you know, he be on the phone talking to me buying packs of them. You know all types of flavors and everything, you know what I'm saying? So he may be on them, you know what I'm saying? So I can't say, I just know that I can't tell you what your addiction is and what it ain't. I just advise, you know, if you can, just try to hold off until the sun go down. Because I saw this brother doing it, you know, not that he wasn't addicted, but he just, for the sake of everybody around him, it was just like, man, if I saw it, if it's going to be a problem, I just ain't going to do it. You know what I'm saying? So I just advise that, you know, but however you deal with your issue or whatever, man, that's between you and the Lord. But that's why I just want to read that. Numbers chapter 15. Numbers chapter 15. You know, some people get the shakes and everything, man. So I understand. You know, just do the best you can. Numbers 15, verse 32. Numbers 15, verse 32. Go and read that from me.
And while the children of Israel were in the wilderness, they found a man that gathered sticks upon the Sabbath day. And they that found him gathering sticks brought him unto Moses and Aaron, and unto all the congregation. And they put him in ward, because it was not declared what should be done to him.
Right, and this is why I said more than likely that kindling the fire, it more than likely was for, you know, getting ready to cook something. You see what I'm saying? You know, the other, you know, lighting the cigarette, lighting the Black and Mild, stuff like that, that could possibly be a stumbling block to somebody else. You get what I'm saying? Because you ain't doing no work with that. Like, let's not be dumb. Like, that ain't no work. You see what I'm saying? You just lighting something, you know. So But it's more than likely, high probability, he could have been going to do it to cook some food. I don't know, it don't say, but you don't need to be out there gathering those sticks on the Sabbath day. All right? Because what's going to happen to this guy? What it say? They found him gathering sticks, brought him unto Aaron, Moses and Aaron, and unto all the congregation. And what happened, 34?
And they put him in ward, because it was not declared what should be done to him.
Mm-hmm.
And the Lord said unto Moses, the man shall be surely put to death.
Mm-hmm.
All the congregation shall stone him with stones without the camp.
Right, so now evidently, he was gathering sticks. It don't say what he was gathering. But the point is he was gathering sticks on the Sabbath day, right? So evidently this is something that God wasn't pleased with. But what ended up happening to him? He ended up getting killed. That's what happened. He died, sisters and brothers. And that's what, see, we don't have the immediate death for the most part. Like, you ain't got the stoning going on right now. And sometimes we'll get a little lazy, you know what I'm saying, or we'll get a little comfortable because of that, because death ain't being passed out, immediately. But just imagine you got a friend of yours, he in the truth, he break the Sabbath, and next thing you know, you get a call, hey man, yeah, Bernard, he got killed, man. The Lord had a few brothers stoned him to death. You ain't breaking the Sabbath no more. I ain't finna do this. You know what I'm saying? Brother, they got stoned. You see what I'm saying? Well, that's how you gotta look at it, man. You gotta look at this like it got to become real in your mind. It has to be that serious to you. That I ain't gonna do that because I understand what the covenant I made with God, and the second off, what's on the table. Death is lying at the door. Death is on the table, sister and brother. So he said, the man shall surely be put to death. All the congregation shall stone him with stones without the camp. And what else? 36.
And all the congregation brought him without the camp, and stoned him with stones, and he died, as the Lord commanded Moses.
Right, so they killed him. Flip over to Exodus chapter 20. But they had him killed. So you ain't going to be doing that. Gathering sticks on the side, whatever. Trying to do no work. Leave all that stuff alone. Just leave it alone. Exodus chapter 20. Exodus 20 and pick it up at verse 8. You can go and read that.
Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy.
Right, so he said, remember the Sabbath day, right? Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. The very thing that everybody for the most part have forgotten, that's what he told you to remember. He said, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Go ahead and read. What else?
6 days shalt thou labor, and do all thy work.
So you got 6 days to do it. That's a very good deal, man. I'll give you 6 days, man. You got 6 days to labor and do all your work. Whatever you have to take care of within these 6 days, God allows you to do that. You can go out with your family, have a good time and stuff like that. You got 6 days to do that. You're going to labor, do all your work. What else?
But the 7th day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God.
Right, so but on this day, hey, this belongs to God now, right? He said, but the 7th day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. Keep reading.
In it thou shalt not do any work.
So not only, you not going to do no work, because remember now, we resting now. He said, in it thou shalt not do any work. What else?
Thou, nor thy son.
Right, so you ain't going to do no work. That's what thou means. Just because you see thou, that don't mean you got to get your NIV Bible. People like, I got to get another Bible. I can't understand this stuff. You're going to listen. The Bible's going to take you off into something else. You're going to be reading the Bible. You're going to miss scriptures and stuff. These other Bibles are made to kind of, justify these false doctrine and prosperity and stuff. They kind of word this stuff to fit these doctrines. Thou just talking about yourself. But the 7th day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work. Thou nor thy son. What else?
Nor thy daughter, thy manservant.
Keep reading.
Nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle.
Right, so you say, well, I don't got no, first off, your kids, they're not going to do any work. Your manservant, so in this case, you got a business or something, somebody working for you, everything's shutting down. You're not coming to church and they running your business on the side. It ain't going like that. Everybody is stopping. You ain't going to allow people to come up. Matter of fact, it's going to say that. What it say? Nor thy maidservant, right? Manservant, your maidservant, ain't nobody working for you. Nor your cattle. In this case, you got dogs and stuff like that. Even let them rest. You know, you know how you go to a store and you flip the sign over how it say open, you flip it over and say closed, right? Whether you gotta beware the dog sign on the gate, just flip it over. And y'all, he ain't working today, he chilling. He said, know thy cattle, what else?
Nor thy stranger that is within thy gate.
Right, so you ain't gonna allow Comcast, Xfinity and all them, you know, phone companies to come in and DirecTV and we working all on your stuff, plumbing and all that type of stuff. You know, cause it's inside your gates, in this case, your home and stuff like that. So you ain't gonna have that stuff going on your property system, brother. You understand? Nor thy strangers that is within thy gates. What else? Verse 11.
For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day.
Oh, so notice what he taught you. He's still gonna take you back to Genesis. That's where we started off at, right? But he giving you an example of what he did. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. That's what he did. Rested from his works. So because of that, what happened?
Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it.
Right, so he blessed this day and hallowed it, sanctified it, sisters and brothers. So it's the seventh day that he blessed and sanctified, not the first day, not second, third. You know what I'm saying? This is not on the same playing field. This day is not on the same playing field as the other days, 1 through 6. 1 through 6, they are regular days to God. On the one day is the one that he sanctified, which would be the seventh day of the week, sisters and brothers. So we can't use that, you know, we can't have that mentality or allow that mentality to get into our thinking, you know, when it comes to Sabbath day, like every day is the same. You know, you can have a Sabbath your day. I hear people say, you know, well, I didn't want to bother you today because I know it's your Sabbath. No, Negro, it's the Bible Sabbath. That's what it is. You're gonna make it my Sabbath because you want to keep Sunday. And then and it be Hebrews the one that be doing that stuff. You know, Gentiles, they know out the gate. Yeah, it is a Sabbath. We just do it, you know, tradition. But Hebrews, they gonna try to justify what it is they doing. I'm gonna talk to you when your Sabbath is over with. Okay, this is God's Sabbath. That's why I said, wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and holiday, right? No other day. Flip over to Isaiah 58. You almost done. Isaiah 58. It's not a hard class, but it's definitely a necessary class. Isaiah 58. In Isaiah 58 here, he's referring to Day of Atonement. You know what I'm saying? Telling them, you know, sanctify, fast, the day that he called. You know, but however, he's going to give you some principles when he refers to this day, which is good for the Sabbath days across the board. But you can, you know, give you an idea of how we're going to treat the Lord's weekly Sabbath. Isaiah 58, verse 13. Read that for me.
If thou turn away thy foot from the Sabbath, from doing thy pleasure on my holy day, and call the Sabbath a delight, the holy of the Lord, honorable, and shall honor him, not doing thy own ways, nor finding thine own pleasure, nor speaking thine own words.
Okay, so now, first and foremost, he's letting you know, if you do these particular things, there's a reward that he's going to give you, right? And that's in verse 14. We'll get there. But just pay attention to what he said. He said, you turn away your foot from the Sabbath, from doing thy pleasure on my holy day. So in other words, the things that's pertaining to you, things that you're concerned about, the things that, you know, that means something to you, that are important to you, hey, you let those things go on the Lord's Sabbath. You understand? Like, you know, we gotta, you know, take a back seat to what God has said in order. That's why he say, if thou turn away thy foot from the Sabbath, from doing thy pleasure on my holy day, and believe me, there's a lot of stuff going on there that I like, you know, but you know, I mean, I like Duke. They play today, you know what I'm saying? But hey, I'm not gonna go watch them. I'm just letting you know that's one of my plays. I like to watch your boy play. But the point is, hey, I'm not gonna watch that today. I catch the highlights at sundown. You know, but I'm not going to be sitting up here hollering at y'all about it and stuff like that. You know, I'm not going to be sitting up here trying to watch it. And, you know, today is set aside for God. I'm going to put my pleasure down. And I'm not going to be all groggy. And I'm not going to be upset about the Lord's Sabbath today and stuff like that. I'm happy about this day. You know, I love coming into the Sabbath day. It is a delight. Because, listen, on top of that, you get understanding, man. Like the Lord's showing you that He gonna come back and set his kingdom up on this earth on the seventh day, man. Everybody don't know that. So every time 1 week passed by, that just takes us closer and closer to the Lord get there. The real, you know, taking us closer to the real Sabbath day that's coming. But this ain't nothing but a shadow. It's a shadow of what's coming, sisters and brothers. So it says, you turn away your foot from the Sabbath day, from doing thy pleasure on my holy day, and call the Sabbath a delight. What else? The holy of the Lord honorable, and shall honor him, not doing thy own ways. What else?
Nor finding thine own pleasure, nor speaking thine own words.
Right, so listen, so our conversation, I know sometimes we can get, kind of pulled away off in other conversations. So that's just like a few weeks ago. Brother walked in church and was like, soon as he saw, I said, what's up, man? Peace, bro, how you doing? Oh, man, what y'all doing with that Super Bowl? I said, what? I said, man, we'll talk about that after Sabbath, bro. He's like, okay, my bad. Like, come on, bro, you've been in the Word for some time. You know better than that. I said, man, he had to try, bro. But he said, nor find thy own pleasure, nor speaking thy own words. We're going to lay all that stuff to the side until the Sabbath is over with. You know what I'm saying? We'll talk about that. Like I say, sometimes we'll get caught up in conversation. Next thing you know, we're in a full-fledged conversation about crappie fishing. You know what I'm saying? Like, you see what I'm saying? So, no, I'm not saying you. I'm just saying we can have that conversation. You know what I'm saying? So, you got to be careful. You got to be mindful of that. Okay, hey, we'll holler later on this. We'll talk on the phone about it, because it's about God today. It's about being in the Word of God and, discussing what He got planned. You understand? It's His day, sisters and brothers. Nor finding our own pleasure, nor speaking our own words. And what's the reward for that? Verse 14.
Then shalt thou delight thyself in the Lord, and I will cause thee to ride upon the high places of the earth, and feed thee with the heritage of Jacob thy father.
Right, the inheritance that's going to Jacob. You know what that is? Hey, Mount Zion, but also everlasting life is coming with this, sisters and brothers. Go ahead, what else?
For the mouth of the Lord hath spoken.
All right, so now let's flip over to Exodus 19. So we ain't going to be doing our pleasures and stuff like that. Exodus 19. We're going to look at one right quick. A lot of people try to, some brothers don't know if it's a pleasure or not. If you don't know if this is a pleasure, you need some prayer. Exodus chapter 19, we're going to pick this up at verse 9. You'll see what I'm talking about in a second. Exodus 19, verse 9. Lord talking to Moses. He's going to come down in a few days to speak to Israel and give them the commandments. But let's look at the requirements that he's going to tell them to have when they get here. What he's telling them to do and not to do. All right, Exodus 19, verse 9, what does it say?
And the Lord said unto Moses, Lo, I come unto thee in a thick cloud, that the people may hear when I speak with thee, and believe thee forever. And Moses told the words of the people unto the Lord. And the Lord said unto Moses, Go unto the people, and sanctify them today and tomorrow, and let them wash their clothes.
Right, so listen, because the Lord coming down. So he says, sanctify them today and let them wash their clothes. You know what I'm saying? But when you think about why they got to wash their clothes, like, you can come to God as you are, but hey, God's showing you something. It ain't like it's, really important for you to wash your clothes, but the Lord letting you know, listen, you're going to clean yourself up, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, we like to have that thing, we can come as we are. It don't work like that. You gotta renew your mind when it comes to serving God. You gotta change yourself. You can't be that same person trying to serve God, sisters and brothers. But just with an outward expression, you seeing that. He says, sanctify them today, and tomorrow let them wash their clothes. What else? Verse 11.
And be ready against the third day.
So let them be ready. Get them ready, because I'm about to show up. Let them wash their clothes and get ready. Go ahead and read.
For the third day of the Lord will come down in the sight of all the people upon Mount Sinai.
Because the Lord getting ready to come down. In the sight of all the people on the third day. All right. But what else you say? Come back to trying to see what verse it is. Skip down to verse, oh yes it is, skip down to verse 14. Because the Lord getting ready to come down, what did he say? But he going to go tell this to the elders and stuff like that. They going to tell the people, what is that 14 now?
And Moses went down from the mount unto the people, and sanctified the people, and they washed their clothes.
Right, so what the Lord told Moses to do, they went on and did that, right? That's why I said Moses went down from the mountain to the people, sanctified the people, and they washed their clothes. Because remember now, they're getting ready for the Lord to show up. Go ahead and read.
And he said unto the people, Be ready against the third day.
Right, so get ready for the third day now. What?
Come not at your wives.
And don't come at your wives. All right, because listen, You know, that's when see the compilation garden, man, that defiled him. I'll tell you, I think it might be Leviticus and Numbers, somebody will tell you that. But listen, you know, so by this being here, you know, we like to, you know, we just like to give you a bar. You know, because it don't say it flat out, but it just kind of let you know, listen, we dealing with the Lord's Sabbath day. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna be dealing with the Lord and stuff like that. We ain't finna, you know, we ain't gonna come to our wives. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, we dealing with God on this day. However, that is a pleasure. You know, and some people like to say, well, that ain't a pleasure to me. Well, you ain't drinking the right stuff. You might need some Jack Daniels. You know what I'm saying? You might need some Grey Goose or something. I don't know what you talking about. You ain't trying to be slick. Somebody ain't a pleasure. Okay, well, just wait till after Sabbath then if it's not a pleasure then. You know what I'm saying? But like he said here, he said, until the people be ready against the third day, come not at your wives. So, like I said, we want, you know, we refrain from that on the Lord's Sabbath day. We just stay away from that, all right? All right, now let's flip over to Nehemiah chapter 13. Nehemiah 13. Nehemiah 13, verse 4. You're going to pick this up at verse 1. Nehemiah 13, verse 4. All right, go ahead and read that.
And before this, Eliashib the priest, having the oversight of the chamber of the house of our God, was allied unto Tobiah.
Mm-hmm.
And he had prepared for him a great chamber, where aforetime they laid the meat offerings, and the frankincense, and the vessels, and the tithes of the corn, the new wine, and the oil, which was commanded to be given to the Levites, and the singers, and the porters, and the offering of the priests.
Mm-hmm.
But in all this time was not I at Jerusalem, for in the 32nd year of Artaxerxes, king of Babylon, came I unto the king, and after certain days obtained I leave of the king.
All right, so mainly what's going on is Nehemiah coming back to Jerusalem, and he see that Israel have separated themselves from the strangers and stuff like that. Because they find out, you know, they start to read back in the book of the law and find out what it is they're supposed to be doing. So they separate themselves and kind of getting themselves, you know, trying to get themselves back on point. But before this time, they had went off and, you know, Tobiah, that's like it said in verse 4, and before this, Eliashib the priest having the oversight of the chamber of the house of our God was allied unto Tobiah. And he had prepared for him a great chamber, Eliashib did, where aforetime they laid the meat offering, the frankincense, and the vessels, and the tithes of the corn, the new wine, and the oil, which was commanded to be given to the Levites, and the singers, and the porters, and the offering of the priests. So in other words, there was a chamber that was set up where the service of the Lord is supposed to have been, you know, handled by the priest. That's why it says aforetime they laid the meat offering, the frankincense, the vessels, and the tithes of the corn, new wine. So that's what Levi took care of. So this chamber used to be for that service of God, the house of God. So once Israel, you know, started falling off and stuff before they read the law and came back, you know, Eliashib had, became an ally with Tobiah, and Tobiah had Eliashib the priest set up all this false stuff, laid up, put stuff inside this house of God for himself. All right. So what he say in verse 6, Nehemiah said in verse 6, but in all this time was not I at Jerusalem. While they was doing this, I wasn't there. Because I came back when?
In the 32nd year of Artaxerxes, king of Babylon, came I unto the king, and after certain days obtained I leave of the king.
Keep reading.
And I came to Jerusalem and understood of the evil that Elisha did for Tobiah, in preparing him a chamber in the courts of the house of God.
Right, so now Nehemiah get back, because the reason why we're looking at this is because Nehemiah is, kind of laying out a resume before God, for God to remember him and the good things that he's done regarding serving God. All right. So he said, I came to Jerusalem and understood of the evil that Elisha did for Tobiah. Elisha was a priest. Like I said, he said, in preparing him a chamber in the courts of the house of our God. So like, all this stuff that's supposed to belong to God, Elisha, the priest, gonna set up a house or a chamber for Tobiah in the courts of the house of God. That belongs to God. So you shouldn't be putting this up for a man. You get what I'm saying? That's what we're talking about. Go ahead and read. What else?
And it grieved me sore. Therefore I cast forth all the household stuff of Tobiah out of the chamber.
Right, so Nehemiah got mad. He said, it grieved me sore, so I threw all that stuff out of there. Because it ain't supposed to be in there. That's the house of God. How you going to sit up here? You going to have this priest build you your living quarters inside the house of God. It's like I move inside the church. I'm just saying, I'm giving an example. we move inside the church. I'm like, Nate, I lost his mind, man. So it said, it grieved me sore. Therefore I cast forth all the household stuff of Tobiah out of the chamber. Then what he did?
I commanded, and they cleansed the chambers. And thither brought I again the vessels of the house of God.
Right, so he cast all that stuff out of there. Then he went and grabbed the vessels and put them back in the house of God. Go ahead and read.
With the meat offering and the frankincense.
Because that's what's supposed to be in there. The meat offering is supposed to be in there. Frankincense is supposed to be in the house of God. Keep reading.
And I perceived that the portions of the Levites had not been given them.
Because he said, I perceived, or I understood, or I saw that the portion or the payment for the Levites had not been given unto them. Why?
For the Levites and the singers that did the work were fled, every one to his field.
Right, because they done went off and off on their own stuff now. They went and fled everyone to his field. Because remember now, the Levites, the priests, they supposed to be taking care of God's business, right? But they ain't there. They done fled they done went off somewhere. So that's why he said, I perceived that they wasn't getting, in other words, recompense for their stuff. I perceived that the portions of the Levites had not been given to them. So what's supposed to have been given to Levi, or the Levites and the singers and stuff like that, it hadn't been given to them. All right, keep reading. What do you say? 11.
Then contended I with the rulers and said.
So he said, then I contended. In other words, now I argued with the rulers and said what?
Why is the house of God forsaken? And I gathered them together and set them in their place.
Right, so he argued with them. He went and got everybody and put them back in their place. Levites, the singers, the frankincense, the oil. He put everything back in the house of God. He argued with the rulers about this. Why y'all allowing this to go on like this? So like I say, he's kind of giving a resume about how he got down, showing, so the Lord can remember him. He's going to say that in verse 14. What did he say? 14.
Remember me, O my God, concerning this, and blot not out my good deeds that I have done for the house of my God.
Because you read 12 and 13, he's going to tell you everything he did, how he put everything back in order like it's supposed to be. But he's saying here, verse 14, remember me, O my God, concerning this, concerning what I've done, and what he said? And wipe not out my good deeds that I've done for the house of my God and for the offices thereof. Keep reading.
In those days saw I in Judah some treading wine presses on the Sabbath.
So we get to the point now, right? He said, in those days, I saw in Judah some treading wine presses on the Sabbath. Keep reading.
And bringing in sheaves and lading asses.
Go ahead.
Also wine, grapes, and figs, and all manner of burdens which they brought into Jerusalem on the Sabbath day.
Right. So we ain't gonna be be drinking no wine and stuff like that. Don't be bringing wine in and stuff. Because he, if you notice what he did, he compared that to a burden, didn't he? He said all manner of burdens. He said in those days saw I Judah some treading wine presses. Whatever they were doing, making wine, getting ready to sell it, whatever. Treading wine presses on the side, bringing in sheaves. Inside of a sheaf, whatever you gather, you put inside the sheaf. They bringing that in. They finna get their hustle on too. And bringing in sheaves and laying the asses. They got all types of stuff that laying on top of the dummy. bringing them in. They finna get their grind on. As also wine, grapes, and figs, and all manner of burdens, what?
Which they brought into Jerusalem on the Sabbath day. And I testified against them in the day wherein they sold victuals.
So they were selling some of this stuff, selling wine to the people. That's what they was doing, and he jumped on them for that. I remember I used to be kind of slick with it though. I had, when I had a brother tell me one time we was at the house eating, and I used to try to drink wine on the side. I used to go to church. I used to get up on the Sabbath. It was around 2011. I used to get up on the Sabbath. I used to drink me some wine. I used to go to IOG, buzzing hard. I mean, buzzing super hard at the church, man. I remember one time, this lady came to church. She came over to Israel God, and she had this cross on her neck. And after class, we was actually doing a Bible study, and I was still kind of buzzing, man. And I was, Duell was talking to the lady, trying to win her over, but I was buzzing so hard, I was going off on her, man. Calling her wicked and stuff, and and Duell was like, Nate, man, you gotta chill, but he didn't know I had been drinking, you know what I'm saying? So, I had to stop that. I had to get that mess under control, man. You know what I'm saying? But and even before that, brother had told me one night at dinner, he's like, when the Sabbath went down, I think his wife had grabbed my glass. He was like, they was at the house, staying with us. We was gonna do that New World Order thing. We was gonna buy us a crib together in the country. Y'all know Brother Shafiq. Y'all seen him from time. So we had, a while back, we was gonna move together out from the country. We was looking at a nice big piece of property because we thought the world was gonna end, young and dumb. So his wife was there. I think his wife was at the house that night when they was all there staying with us. And when they first moved in, I had some wine sitting on the table right before sundown. I was drinking with my dinner and stuff. And she grabbed my glass and went to go put it in the refrigerator. I'm like, what you grab? Take it back. She's like, oh, it's a Sabbath. I'm like, oh no, that ain't no pleasure. No, I just drank that, to keep me relaxed. You know what I'm saying? But it wasn't pleasant. So right, it wasn't pleasant. I can do without it. You get what I'm saying? So when people try to play that, listen, it's a pleasure. Let's stop playing with God. You know what I'm saying? We can put that off until sundown. It's going to alter your thinking. You know what I'm saying? You want to be sober, not only physically, but also spiritually, dealing with the word. You know what I'm saying? That's like a few weeks ago. I can't remember when it was. When was this? I think might have been a few months back. Right after Sabbath, we got home. Me and my wife, we was drinking on, I can't remember what it was. It might have been some Sky vodka or something like that. She had a shot, I had a shot. Somebody called me from church with a question. I was saying, I was able to handle the question. I was like, God, then I understood. This is why God don't want you dealing with that. That's why I tell people, look, man, I'll let you know what I'm going to drink. It's going to be after the sundown on the side. I'm going to have a couple shots, and then Sunday I have a couple shots. That's it. So I wouldn't advise you call me then. You know what I'm saying? But it's definitely a pleasure, though. That's the point. You know what I'm saying? It's a pleasure. You control it, though. Yeah, man. Hey, you got to, man. You got to, because, sometimes we try to be slick. You know what I'm saying? We know wine is good. We know that's a pleasure. We know it make you relax and stuff like that. But it can also alter your thinking. You know what I'm saying? The next thing you know, you like you said in Proverbs, you look at the glass upright and it be done tricked you. You know what I'm saying? You went off into drinking too much. And it was so bad for me. I wasn't trying to hear, well, we need to put this down on the Sabbath. I was like, nah, this good. I'm just chilling, man. Ain't hurt nothing. I get up in the morning, drink something, and go to church. And I got all of my breath. You know what I'm saying? And like I say, I had to get that under control, man, because it's bad when you're trying to make that an excuse. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to justify doing it, it becomes a problem. So, it's a pleasure. But hey, Nehemiah, he was upset with what they was trying to do, trying to hustle on the Sabbath, because it's really what they was doing. He said, what he said in verse 16, is that on there? Okay, read 16.
There dwelt men of Tyre also therein, which brought fish and all manner of ware. Right,
so you had another nation of people also waiting. He said, there dwelt men of Tyre also therein, which brought fish and all manner of ware, and sold on the Sabbath unto the children of Judah and in Jerusalem. What else?
Then I contended with the nobles of Judah.
So he done talked to the people with some power, the nobles of Judah. He said, then I contended with the nobles of Judah, what?
And said unto them, what evil thing is this that ye do, and profane the Sabbath day? Right, because there ain't supposed to be no selling and buying going on. All these burdens being brought in on the gate. It ain't nothing good about it. He called us evil, right? He said, what evil thing is this that ye do and profane the Sabbath? Go on and read. Did not your fathers thus, And did not our God bring all this evil upon us
Mm-hmm.
and upon this city?
Right, because we done already made the Lord man and disobeyed. Aren't y'all paying attention to the situation we in? Did not your fathers thus? And did not our God bring all this evil upon us and upon this city? What did he say?
Yet you bring more wrath upon Israel by profaning the Sabbath.
Keep reading.
And it came to pass that when the gates of Jerusalem began to be dark before the Sabbath.
Right, so that's why when I told you in Matthew, when we started in Matthew 28, it said at the end of the Sabbath, as it began to dawn toward the first day, letting you know dawning ain't just talking about breaking dawn in the morning. Right. Dawning, we just talking about moving toward. You know what I'm saying? So that's why you see here, he said what? And it came to pass that when the gates of Jerusalem began to be dark before the Sabbath, right? It started getting dark. It was dawning in a sense, going toward the Sabbath. As it began to get dark or began to be dark before the Sabbath, what he did?
I commanded that the gates should be shut.
So that's like last night, as the sun going down, say Nehemiah was around. He said, I commanded that the gates be shut. It's starting to get dark. So we're going to shut the city down. Go ahead and read.
And charged that they should not be open until after the Sabbath.
Right, so hey, if he was here and they was, if we was in the land right now, it would be last night that he shut the gates, and then he ain't gonna open them up until later on this evening, once the sun goes down. I commanded that the gates should be shut and charged that they should not be open till after the Sabbath. What else?
Some of my servants said I at the gates. That there should no burden be brought in on the Sabbath day.
Right, so he wasn't playing with him. He said, I set some servants at the gates. Because we ain't having this. Y'all ain't gonna be coming in here, selling to Israel and stuff like that. So Nehemiah, he was really, he wasn't playing. He was serious about this. So he set some servants at the gates. Go ahead and read what else?
So the merchants and sellers of all kind of ware lodged without Jerusalem once or twice.
Right, but you still have some knuckleheads, Tyree and all them, and all these other niggas hanging around the fence. Hey man, come on, sit the fence. I got something. You won't get it right quick. He said what, man? He said, so the merchants and sellers of all kind of ware lodged without Jerusalem once or twice. Go ahead and read.
Then I testified against them and said unto them, Why lodge you about the wall?
Right, so he told him, what y'all hanging out, man? Why y'all hanging out? What you hanging out by the wall for? He said, why lodge ye about the wall? Go on and read.
If you do so again.
So in our day, in our time, it's if I catch you out here again, what's going to happen?
I will lay hands on you.
I'm going to hit you in your face, bro. We fight, bro, if I catch you out here again, man. He said, if you do so again, I will lay hands on you, and what happened?
From that time forth came they no more on
the Sabbath. They knew he was serious. Like, they knew they playing about the Sabbath. What did he say in 22?
And I commanded the Levites that they should cleanse themselves, and that they should come and keep the gates, to sanctify the Sabbath day. Remember me, O God, concerning this also.
Go ahead.
And spare me according to the greatness of thy mercy.
Yeah, so that's a good thing, but just to show you some of the things that he wasn't allowing to happen on the Sabbath day, sister and brother. No buying and selling going on. He called it the evil thing then. All right, so now flip over to Romans chapter 14. Look at some falsehoods about the Sabbath. We got 3 more after this and we'll be done. Falsehoods about the Sabbath and how it points to the Lord's return. That's really what it's all about. Romans chapter 14. You're going to pick this up at verse 1. Romans 14 and verse 1. You want to read that for me?
Him that is weak in the faith receive you, but not to doubtful disputations. For one believe that he may eat all things, another who is weak, he errs. Okay, so now one reason we want to come here is because a lot of people like to use this to say, we go look at how, say, one man esteems another day above another, and what we like to use here in the world, we like to use this to make it seem like, whatever day you consider to be be a Sabbath, hey, that's totally up to you. But that's not what this is referring to. It's Romans 14. So it's saying, verse 1, him that is weak in the faith, receive ye. So pay attention to what's actually going on in this conversation. Paul is writing to the letter to those in Rome. He say, him that is weak in the faith, receive ye, but not to doubt for disputation. So we got 2 brothers and 2 sisters that are in the word, right?
And if you somebody that got some knowledge, that's been in the word for some time, hey, you got somebody that's, that could be fairly new or weak in the faith. Listen, you still gonna receive him, but not the things that y'all gotta argue about. That's why I say doubtful disputation. Go to read, what else?
Let not him eat.
No, verse 2.
For one believe that he may eat all things, another who is weak eat herbs.
Now pay attention, but both of these guys in the faith though, right? Both of these people are in the faith. That's who this is talking. This ain't talking to a Sunday Christian. This ain't referring to people that are in Sunday church. This ain't got nothing to do with them. These are people that are in the faith. You understand? Like if you have somebody that eat meat, you have somebody that eat herbs. This is who Paul is addressing. But both of these people are in the word. They're both in the faith, okay? So he said, for one believe that he may eat all things. Another who is weak eat herbs. Like you may have some people that come into the word, and feel like, well, all we can eat is herbs. We ain't supposed to eat meat. But clearly, that's a sign of them being weak, because you go to Genesis chapter, I think around 9 or 10, you know what I'm saying? Once Noah came off the boat, the Lord was like, hey, they're going to be meat for you now, right? Talking about the animals, didn't he? Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? So we can eat meat. But you may have somebody that's weak that think that we can only eat herbs. You have some people like that come into the word and they be New World Ordered out. Oh, you can't eat chicken, man, because they got steroids in them. Duh. You know what I'm saying? Like, you think we don't know that? That's why we try to go to certain places that don't sell like the fat chicken, like Walmart. We try to avoid that. We try to go to these little meat markets and stuff, especially in Atlanta. We go to a place called DeKalb Farmers Market, where they say they don't do the GMOs. The chicken looked like it used to look back in the 80s. You know what I'm saying? When chicken was really chicken, when a strawberry was really like the size of a strawberry, not an apple. You know what I'm saying? We got a place like that in Georgia, DeKalb Farmers Market, where we go, to stay away from that stuff. So we know that. But at the same time, when you got some understanding in the word, you already know, regardless of what's all said and done, you can eat some meat, but hey, it's God that's controlling. He told you you're going to eat the defiled bread of the Gentiles anyway. And Ezekiel told you that. When we go into captivity, you're going to eat the defiled bread of the Gentiles. So it ain't going to be righteous food, and it's going to be tainted and everything. But we understand that. You're going to have some people that, I have some people come into the word, you can't eat a piece of bread without somebody saying something. That bread, they put poison in it. Oh, God, dude, everything is poison. Do you know that even your vegetables got pesticides on it? Mm-hmm. Like I tell people, listen, man, I can go New World Order with you all day. Because that's how I came into the word. I secluded myself from my family for about a good year. They thought I was going nuts. You understand? So I can have these conversations. I see people coming to the word and they I be like, po thing. Because sometimes they get taken so far and I just look at them like, man, I did the same thing. 2008, I left the music industry because of that in 2008. Came back from California, got back to Atlanta, and I heard something on the radio and I lost my mind. I completely lost my mind. Alex Jones, InfoWars, I lost my mind in 2008. My wife was like, this dude is nuts. We was almost about to get a divorce, I promise you. But I kept on seeking, boy. I kept seeking. And the Lord showed me, that thing on the internet called Hebrew Israelites of the so-called Negro. I saw that video and boom, it came on. You know what I'm saying? The light came on. That's when I kept searching. And the Lord turned me to the word. So now when I see new people come in, they talk about all these different chemicals in the food. I just look at them like, man, just keep on searching, man. Because God got it in control no matter what. But the point is, this is what he's referring to, being somebody that's weak in the faith. That's why I say, for one believe that he may eat all things. Another who is weak, eat herbs. That's what this conversation is about. He's going to give you analogies about how, how he's going to use the analogies to compare the two. What he say in verse 3?
Let not him that eat despise him that eat not.
Right, so he said, let not him that eat, talking about that eat meat, despise him that eat not. So the brother who don't eat meat, me being a meat eater, I'm not going to despise him. I'm not going to treat you bad. I'm not going to have a big get together at my house. It's going to be chicken galore. I ain't got nothing for you. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm going to make sure I put some things to the side for you because I know you don't eat meat. See what I'm saying? I'm not going to be bashing you or trying to embarrass you and stuff like that. That's why I say what? Let not him that eat despise him that eat not. What else?
And let not him which eat not judge him that eat.
Right, likewise. So the one who don't eat meat, don't despise me because I do eat meat. You understand? That's what we're talking about right here. Go ahead and read.
For God hath received him.
Because we both are servants of God. That's why I say for God hath received him. We both, listen, we started this off, right? We're talking about, like he says in verse 1, him that is weak in the faith. So this is talking about two people that serve God, sisters and brothers. We can't lose sight of that. That's what this conversation is about. What he said in verse 4?
Who art thou that judge another man's servant?
Keep reading.
To his own master he stand or fall.
Right, he got the answer to God. Who am I to judge him? You know, I'm not going to sit up here and be bashing you because you don't eat meat. That's between you and God. You ain't going to be bashing me because I eat meat. It's between me and God. I answer to God just like you answer to God, right? Who art thou that judge another man's servant? To his own master he stand or fall. Keep reading.
Yea, he shall be holding up, for God is able to make him stand.
That's right, go ahead.
One man esteemed one day above another, another esteemed every day alike.
Right, but notice what he do. See how he gonna kind of turn the channel a little bit? But we still, remember now, you gotta still read things in context. He's just gonna give you an example to make you, see it a little clearer. That's why he says, what, one man esteemed one day above another. Go ahead.
Another esteem every day alike.
Go ahead.
Let every man be fully persuaded in his own mind.
Right, so listen, we ain't talking about the Sabbath day, though. Ain't got nothing to do with the Sabbath day. This got something to do with, like, for instance, you got a birthday. You got a birthday that may be important to you. It may not be important to everybody else. Not to say it's anything wrong with you celebrating your birthday. You might have a birthday, 50th birthday coming up. You might have a big celebration. To somebody else, hey, it's just a regular day. You understand what I'm saying? You might have an anniversary. To you, 25 years being married. To you, that's a big thing. Y'all want to go have a party, big celebration. That's like in Atlanta. We have a thing every year for the past 2 years. We got a thing called Just Because. We have a big party. Why? Just because. We ain't got nothing to do with the summertime. Just because. That's what it's called. Everybody come over. We have a big party in the summertime. You know what I'm saying? Called Just Because. We ain't got nothing to do. To everybody else, it's a regular day. To us, hey, we're going to have a big party. You know what I'm saying? That's all we talking about. We ain't talking about changing the Sabbath. This ain't got nothing to do with the Sabbath day. One man esteemed one day above another. Another esteemed every day alike. Hey, to one man, every day is the same to him. He don't put no emphasis on it. He don't take nothing away from it. Every day to him is alike, the same. Go on and read. Let every man be fully persuaded in his own mind. If that's what you want to do, and your mind, and you decide to do it, that's what you consider. If your birthday is important to you, hey, it's important to you. If your anniversary is important to you, it's important to you. If it's not, or vice versa, it's not important at all, hey, let every man be fully persuaded in his own mind. What else you say?
He that regard the day, regard it unto the Lord.
Right, so if I regard the day, remember now we servants of God, right? So we still regard it to the Lord. He that regard the day, regard it to the Lord. What else you say?
And he that regard not the day, to the Lord, he doth not regard.
Right, so hey, I don't regard the day, but to the Lord, I just don't regard it. It's to the Lord who I ain't got to answer you, in other words. That's what I'm saying. I ain't got to answer you. To the Lord, I just don't regard it. It's not a big deal. Go ahead and read. What else?
He that eat to the Lord, for he give God thanks.
That's right. He that eat, he eat to the Lord. If I eat meat, I eat to the Lord, right? And what I end up doing, I still give God thanks, don't I? Go ahead and read. What else?
He that eat not to the Lord, he eat not, and give God thanks.
Right, so he that eat not meat, he eat though, don't he? Right. He give God thanks, he just don't eat meat. But we still on the same team. That's the whole point. And that's why he was giving you that example about the one esteem and one day above another. It has nothing to do with the Sabbath day. So next time somebody take you here, take him back to Romans 14 verse 1. As opposed to jumping into Romans 14 and verse 5, because that's what they like to do. Oh, one man esteemed another day above another. Every day, you do what you want to do. Now, that ain't what this is talking about. And they'll say it in passing real fast. Wait, come here, let's talk about it. They gone. But if you get the opportunity to sit down and talk with them, let's go through what this is actually saying. It has nothing to do with the weekly Sabbath at all. Flip over to Colossians chapter 2. Colossians chapter 2. Look at another falsehood right quick. Y'all have seen that? You be on the phone talking to somebody about the word. They get to say everything they gotta say. As soon as you start, oh, I gotta go, man. I call you. Wait, you gotta go. Oh man, ooh boy, you wait. I'll be on fire too, man. Oh man, I'm about to, ooh, you lucky. You know, dog, almost every time. That's why I like having a conversation with people about the word. That ain't in the word. You know, they be sitting there, they try to be slick. Oh yeah, well praise God. God is good. Wait, man. He good. You know what I'm saying? Well, you know, I'm going to church tomorrow till it be Sunday. I'm going to church on Sunday. You know, we gonna do this and do that. You know, and the Lord did this, Lord did that, and you know, my preacher this, my preacher that, and then you want to say something, you know, you want to talk about something. Oh, I gotta go. I'll call you back.
Yeah.
You be like, what? I done fell for it again. So I had somebody say to me yesterday, we was talking about sports and stuff yesterday, and he said to me, yeah, man, you know, we children of God. And I'm like, well, we can't be children of God if y'all playing football on the Sabbath. We're not children of God. You know, and anyway, we got into a long conversation. And, you know, somehow or another, he got off the phone before I can get into it. He's like, I'm gonna call you back. I gotta go. I gotta ride. You know, driving Uber. I gotta ride. I gotta go. I'll call you back. I promise I'm gonna call you back. I'm like, man, look at you running, man. It's always happening. But I think to myself, like, dude, man, I'm not gonna get caught up like this again. Mm-hmm. And every time I get sucked in, as soon as I get sucked in, oh, I gotta go. And I'm sitting there like, I'm holding the bag. It's all good. Colossians chapter 2, man. Huh?
That phone call back then.
No, I didn't. No, I'm holding it back. Like I got all this stuff built up in me. I wanted to say. I can't even say it. It's all good though. Colossians chapter 2, man. Colossians 2 and verse 8. What it say?
Beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit, after the tradition of men, after the rudiments of the world, and not after Christ. For in him dwell all the fullness of the Godhead bodily.
So don't let nobody deceive you. You know, try to get you to follow the things of the world. And this is what Paul is writing to the Gentiles, you know, just coming into the word. So he tells them, you know, beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy or vain deceit, after the tradition of men, after the rudiments of the world, and not after Christ. Go ahead and read. What else?
For in him dwell all the fullness of the Godhead bodily.
So when you see Jesus, you see it all. You see the whole Godhead. It said, for in him, you know, dwell all the fullness of the Godhead bodily. That's where it started. You don't need nothing else. You don't need all these other traditions and stuff like that. Go on and read. What else?
And you are complete in him, which is the head of all principality and power.
That's right, because it started with the Lord. You are complete in him, which is the head of all principality and power. So in other words, you got it with him. Don't let somebody come, you know, deceiving you with philosophy and vain deceit and stuff like that. You know, you came into the word, listen, that's where you need to be at. You need to settle down right there. You don't need to go nowhere else. Pertaining to the word of God and the Godhead and stuff, hey, it all lie right there in Jesus. Go ahead and read, verse 11.
In whom also you are circumcised with the circumcision made without hands, and putting off the body of the sins of the flesh by the circumcision of Christ.
So now pay attention to what's going on here, because I want to make sure we don't, you know, lose sight of what's being read here. It says, in whom also you're circumcised with the circumcision made without hands, because, you know, when it comes to Israel, you know, there was a law given to them that they needed to be circumcised on the 8th day, right? You know, all the male child. So mainly what you got going on in Acts chapter 15, that's what the big argument was about. You know, you had Pharisees saying that the other nations couldn't be saved unless they were circumcised and kept the law of Moses. You know, so when Paul, like I said a few times here before, you know, they understood that they need to be circumcised. They understood that they need to keep the law of Moses. But hey, even the elders at Jerusalem, they came up with a plan to, you know, listen, we're going to tell them to abstain from meats and things strangling them from blood, because when they get to church on the Sabbath day, they'll read the law of Moses. That's why I say you know, in the synagogues, every Sabbath day, they don't, you know, the law of Moses is being read. So they'll get that. Let's just deal with the things that we can immediately touch right now. But Paul is letting them know, listen, there's something bigger than just that physical circumcision. When Jesus died, guess what? He said, in whom also ye are circumcised with the circumcision made without hands. Go ahead and read. And putting off the body of the sins of the flesh by the circumcision of Christ. And that's really what circumcision represents. Like, even though it's the, you know, like in Joshua, I think 6, it lets you know it's a rolling away of the flesh. But you just think about it, that's what's going to happen with us. You know what I'm saying? When the Father get back on the 8th day, there ain't going to be no more flesh and blood. That's why you got that sign in that young man on the 8th day, not on the 7th day, not on the 6th day, on the 8th day, that's when that young man gets circumcised, that baby gets circumcised on the 8th day. That's just pointing when the father get here. You know, because on the 8th day, ain't gonna be no more flesh and blood, sisters and brothers. However, in order for this to happen, guess what? Jesus got to die. That's why I'm telling you that in whom also he is circumcised with the circumcision made without hands and putting off the body of the sins of the flesh. How?
By the circumcision
By
of
the
Christ.
circumcision of Christ. Go on and read. What else?
Buried with him in baptism,
Uh-huh.
wherein also you are risen with him through the faith of the operation of God,
Uh-huh.
who hath raised him from the dead.
But now you know, as we read in context, let's just see what we're talking about. We're talking about you being circumcised, this old man, in other words, being put off. You know, you dying and stuff like that. This old man dying. That's why he said in verse 12, bear with him in baptism, wherein also ye are risen with him through the faith of the operation of God, who have raised him from the dead. So in other words, you know, just like with what happened with Jesus, Jesus went down in the grave, didn't he? And he got up from the grave by, you know, the Father got him up. Well, likewise, with you going down in your baptism, you know, when you go down, guess what? That old man is dead. And you're going to come up a new man. But hey, you got faith in this operation of God. But what we talk about in context of the scripture, we just talking about this man dying off, you being raised up a new man. That's all we talking about. And the reason I keep pointing this out is I want you to follow the train of thought as we get down to the verse that everybody like to use. All right? So he says, what? Bear with him in baptism, wherein also you have risen with him through the faith of the operation of God. So you didn't just go in the water. You didn't stay there, did you? You got baptized and you got up, though. You didn't just stay there. Wherein also you have risen with him through the faith of the operation of God, who have raised him from the dead. What he said in 13?
And you, being dead in your sins,
Uh-huh.
and the uncircumcision of your flesh,
Uh-huh.
hath he quickened together with him, having forgiven you all trespasses.
Right, because without God, Jesus coming to die, listen, you still got death right there. That's why he says what? And you being dead in your sins and the uncircumcision of your flesh, have he quickened together or made alive with him, having forgiven you what? All trespasses, right? Then what it say?
Blotting out the handwriting of ordinances that was against us.
Now remember, now we talking about life and death. So if he blotted out a handwriting of ordinance that was against us, you know, remember now the train of thought ain't gonna change. We still talking about life and death. So what is against you? What did God take off the table that was against you?
Yeah.
You see how simple that is? When you just deal with things, you know, instead of just trying to pull things out of the air, you know what I'm saying, and make it fit, when you read it, you know, like in its context, you'll see it's the same train of thought all the way down. That's why I say blotting out the handwriting of ordinances that was against us, which was contrary to us, did what?
And took it out of the way,
Uh-huh.
nailing it to his cross.
Right. So what did he nail? What did he come out? What did he come out of the king? Out of, you know, being on the throne next to the Father. He came down to this earth. Did he come down here to nail a Sabbath day to the cross?
No.
Because that's what they say, right? They say the law is nailed to the cross. You ain't got to keep the Sabbath no more, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
So the Sabbath day was against you.
No.
How is you resting your body against you? The feast days against you. How? That don't make sense. He said what? He said blotting out the handwriting of ordinances that was against us. There's an ordinance. In other words, there is a law that is in place. Like for instance, if you run a red light, most governments have laws or ordinances that are set up, and you're gonna fall up on a particular one if you break a certain law. I would likewise with God. He has an ordinance set up. He has a law set up. If you, matter of fact, it's so simple. The way you sin is what?
Yeah.
They go hand in hand. There's no way you can get around it. If you sin, there's death sitting right there. That's what's against you, sisters and brothers. So that's why he had to come and die. And once he died, guess what? He nailed death to the cross now. First off, not animal sacrifice, because animal sacrifice is coming back in effect when the Lord gets back. So just keep that in mind. That's going to be back on the table. So he just stopped that temporarily. But what he came off the throne for to nail to the cross was death. Because Adam sinned and brought death on everybody. So in order for death to come up off of this man, somebody got to die and shed their blood. But it can't just be any type of blood. It got to be a righteous blood. It got to be blood. It got to be a man without blemish in order for the Father to agree to accept it. You understand? That's what Jesus came in. He didn't have no blemish on him. So it said, blot out the handwriting of ordinances that was against us, which was contrary to us, and took it out of the way, nailing it to his cross. Death was against you, sisters and brothers. So now that Jesus died, nailed it to the cross, now you have an opportunity back at everlasting life. Go ahead and read what it said, 15.
And having spoiled principalities and powers, he made a show of them, openly triumphing over them in it.
So he spoiled principalities and powers, because until Jesus came, guess what? You know, you got Satan here, and you got death and sickness with Satan, sisters and brothers. Now, we know Jesus died, got it from the grave, so you saw a small portion of what's going to happen when he returns. That's why it's so important for you to make sure you hold on, keep on serving God, doing what you have to do, so when the Lord get back, hey, you'll be able to go ahead and, finish the process. So you've been born again in your mind right now, but it's, you still got to finish the process and be born again in this body. You understand? But you see where it started off with Jesus. He was the first one. That's why we're considered a kind of first fruit. Because Jesus been the first fruit, the one that came out of the heavens, went down the grave, got up. Hey, ain't nobody ever did that. So he's the first fruit, and we're kind of first fruit. You know why we're kind of first fruit? Because we're going to be the first ones from among man to do that. God wasn't no regular man. You understand? He existed before we came about. He just came through a body that was already prepared for him, like it says in Hebrews chapter 10. So he already started that process. When he get back, hey, he gonna, some of us gonna start taking on that new body also. Having spoiled principalities and powers, he made a show of them openly, triumphant over them in it. Why? Because he got it from the grave. He got it with power. Death ain't ruling no more, sisters and brothers. Until Jesus came, death was ruling. We have no way out. Now Jesus done came, he done took death off the table. Now you can fall up under that if you want to. You can do what you got to do so you can get this life also. So he said, because of that, 16.
Let no man therefore judge you in meat or in drink, or in respect of an holy day, or of the new moon, or of the Sabbath day.
Right, so because you're serving God now, he said, don't let nobody judge you in meat or in drink, and you're going to have that come about, especially when you start telling your family you don't eat pork no more. You don't eat catfish and shrimp and all that type of stuff. They're going to think you crazy. I promise you, somebody told me I thought I was better than them because I don't eat pork no more. I ain't say that. I just said I don't eat pork. But you think you better than us now? I ain't even say that. You think I'm better than you. Evidently, you know that pork is bad. But he said, don't let nobody judge you in meat or in drink. And sometimes, hey, it's not even a sin for you to drink alcohol. You look at Jesus when he came, he said, the Son of Man came eating and drinking. They call me a wine bibber. That's the extended word of wine. You know what I'm saying? So ain't nothing wrong with that. Remember, he went to the wedding. What he did? He turned the water into wine. People say it was grape juice. No, it was not no doggone grape. It was wine. That's why the king was like, man, you brought the good stuff out at the end. Usually they had the good stuff at the beginning. You know how it is. You go to the party, you drinking all that good stuff, and by the time the party over, you don't care what you're drinking. Mad Dog 2020, White Eyes Rose, Cisco, liquid crack, it don't even matter. You know what I'm saying? They said, well, Jesus brought the good stuff out at the end. So he was doing a little drinking. That's fine. Just make sure you keep it under control. Let no man therefore judge you in meat or in drink or respect of a holy day, because that's what we observe, right? We don't do the traditions no more. Don't let nobody judge you or, ridicule you because of that. Or of the new moon or of the Sabbath days, which are what?
A shadow of things to come.
Right, see what we're doing, it's a shadow of things to come. You observing the weekly Sabbath, guess what? That's pointing to the Lord coming back and setting up his kingdom on this earth. When? On the seventh day. Man got 6,000 years to take care of this thing. We done dropped the ball, guess what? Now the Lord getting ready to return real soon. He's going to be in this earth for 1,000 years. That's the 7th day for man. That's why we observe the Sabbath day every week. It's a shadow of things to come, along with the feast day. Blowing the trumpets. Guess what? That's going to announce the Lord's coming. The devil told me when the Lord said he got to sacrifice in Moses' rock. He gonna kill off Edom when he get back. You understand? It's gonna be sacrifice for the world. These things are a shadow of things to come. So he's saying, don't let nobody judge you in meat or in drink, which are a shadow of things, respect of a holy day or the new moon of the Sabbath days, which are a shadow of things to come. But what?
But the body is of Christ.
Right, so when you see Jesus, you see the fullness of it, sister and brother. What we're doing right now here is just a shadow of it. That's all. But it's pointing to something else besides what we're doing, on the, like we're just doing this for the heck of it. It's pointing to something. Acts 3:19, let's see what he said. Acts chapter 3 verse 19, let's see what Paul said need to be blotted out. When he talked to them at Jerusalem about having Jesus killed, told them, hey, you didn't know what you was doing, but that same one that you had murdered, same one that y'all had killed, that's your Savior. And they started feeling convicted about it, and they asked him, they said, well, what do we need to do? Acts 3:19, read that.
Repent you therefore,
Uh-huh.
and be converted.
Notice what Peter said. He said, repent ye therefore, and be converted, that what?
Your sins may be blotted
Oh,
out.
that your sins may be blotted out. That's what he blotted out and nailed to the cross. Not the feast days, not the Sabbath day. It's your sins that he blotted out. Remember, sin and death go hand in hand. So he told him, he said, repent ye therefore and be converted that your sins may be blotted out. What else?
When the times of refreshing shall come from the presence of the Lord.
That's right, because, hey, you get your sins blotted out now. When the Lord returns, hey, you got that everlasting life coming. Go to the last place, Deuteronomy chapter 5. Deuteronomy chapter 5. Last place, Deuteronomy 5. In verse 12. I'm going to read that one.
Keep the Sabbath day to sanctify it, as the Lord thy God hath commanded thee. 6 days thou shalt labor and do all thy work.
But notice what he says. He said, keep the Sabbath day, right? To sanctify it. Now, you're not going to defile it. You're going to keep this day set apart. He put it out there. You're going to keep it that way, right? Keep the Sabbath day to sanctify it, as the Lord thy God hath commanded thee. 6 days thou shalt labor and do all thy work, right? So, just make sure we reiterate on that. You got 6 days to labor and do all your work, but what?
But the 7th day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, nor thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thine ox, nor thine ass, nor any of thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates.
Go ahead.
That thy manservant and thy maidservant may rest as well as thou.
Oh, okay, so not only you gonna rest, but everybody in your house gonna rest just like you, right? He said your manservant, your maidservant gonna rest as well as you. That's why, like I told you, you got a business, something like that, you ain't gonna be having nothing else going on. Ain't nobody else gonna be working and you chilling. Everybody gonna rest. But that's what happens on this day, sister and brother. You ain't going to work now. Make sure we got that through our heads. We're not going to work. We ain't doing, we're not taking ourselves out of serving God. We're going to make sure we understand that this day is here first. And we're going to honor this day like the Lord set it aside. What is that, verse 15?
And remember that thou wast a servant in the land of Egypt, and that the Lord thy God brought thee out thence through a mighty hand and by a stretched out arm.
That's right. You're going to keep he said, remember that thou was a servant in the land of Egypt. Your servant going to rest just like you now. Don't forget that you was a servant in Egypt, so don't do your servant bad, right? That's why he come right after that. He said what? He said that thy manservant and thy maidservant may rest as well as thou, and remember that thou was a servant in the land of Egypt. So don't treat them bad. You got them slaves and stuff, and you chilling. Now everybody gonna be resting on this day. That the Lord thy God brought thee out thence through a mighty hand and by a stretched out arm. Therefore what?
The Lord thy God commanded thee to keep the Sabbath day.
Right, so he commanded you to keep the Sabbath day, right? And we told our Father, and it's good for us even now today. So I hope somebody got some understanding in Jesus' name. Amen.
Our prayer is that the eyes of your understanding were enlightened by today's lesson. DVDs and CDs of the lessons are available upon order. Please place your order in the offering basket along with your donation and pick up your DVDs or CDs up at the podium next Sabbath. Join us for question and answer Bible study an hour from now, as well as every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time via YouTube Live. If you feel you are ready to be baptized, please sign the baptismal list at the podium or speak with Brother James or Brother Dom. The following is the dress code for our services. All clothing should be modest in appearance, no shorts, nothing tight-fitting, overly baggy, sagging, or revealing, or torn clothing should be worn. Men are to remove hats and all head coverings, and women should wear a hat or a head covering, such as a hat or a scarf, according to 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verses 1 through 7. If your child becomes noisy during the lesson, distracting other members, please remove him or her to the lobby area. Any tithes and or free will offerings should be put in an offering envelope and placed in the offering basket near the double doors. Pray for our strength as we pray for you. Until next Sabbath, peace.
Peace. All right. We don't have anything right now.
We have, make sure that, we keep, Sister Shalika in prayer.
Sister Shanika?
Salika. Yeah.
Rutherford?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Brother Elijah mentioned her last night in his lesson afterwards. He said that she has some medical issues.
She does?
Yeah.
Oh, y'all keep Sister Salika Rutherford in your prayers. Yeah. I see on Facebook a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I didn't know that. Boy. Yeah, definitely keep each other in prayer. Wow.
As well as Sister Crystal
And Sister Kristen?
and Brother Jim.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm saying because, last time we prayed for him.
Yeah.
We've been doing pretty good, man, so I'm believing God for healing, man. I messed up last time, Gentile sister down, where we live at, one of my customers, we went over there, and, we was blowing the property. We went up in the house, I put on Facebook, she told me she had some pain going on, so I said, well, you mind if me and my son pray for you? We put oil on the man and prayed for her, and she said that night, man, like she just started feeling things moving, working on her body, man. So the Lord, the next time I went over there, I said, how you been feeling? You know what I'm saying? She said, man, the Lord healed me. She was like, that night, I felt the Lord say, she said, the pain is gone. My dumb behind, I said, well, if it come back, just let me know. She said, it ain't coming back. And she's a Gentile, ain't even in the faith. I said, oh my God, why did I say that? So I believe God for your healing. It ain't even no if, I said, goodness, okay, you're supposed to be the light of the world. And I just showed some doubt to this sister. She said, it ain't coming back. I said, oh my goodness, why did I say that? But yeah, so I guess I ain't even have faith in my prayer after the Lord had already did it. You know what I'm saying? The Lord had healed the lady and I still said something stupid.
We humans, bro.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. All of us are, I guess the feast's coming up soon, and I don't know how we're gonna do it. I'm trying to get Jacksonville straight, so I don't know if JD working on North Carolina, but we'll have something for y'all soon. But other than that, we're gonna go and close out.
Trying to go to Philly.
Going to Philly?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Oh, that's what's up, man. Well, that's what's up, man. Hey, well, I don't know. I mean, if people still here, maybe they probably link up at the house or something like that.
Yeah.
One more thing. Another person, I don't know if everyone knows, but Brother Roger had mentioned maybe a week or so ago that next week is going to be at a different hotel here.
Okay. Okay.
FYI.
Okay. That's what's up. So yeah, he'll probably get it back to the teacher that's coming down. Yeah, he'll let them know ahead of time. Y'all keep us in y'all prayers too in Atlanta too. We got a big old spot or something. Big old spot. When I say big, I mean huge. Got about 20-something classrooms. About 22 sitting on about 8 acres of land. So we're looking at that right now. So y'all just keep it in y'all prayers, man. That'll be the next school and as far as Israel Church Jesus is concerned, that'll be next in line if we get the building. So keep it in your prayers. Other than that, we're gonna close out. We'll have question and answer in about 30 minutes.
Our Father,
Our Father,
which which art in heaven,
which art in heaven,
hallowed be thy name.
hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come,
Thy kingdom come,
thy will be done in earth
thy will be done in earth
as it is in heaven.
as it is in heaven.
Give us this day our daily bread,
Give us this day our daily bread,
and forgive us our debts,
and forgive us our debts,
as we forgive our debtors.
as we forgive our debtors.
And lead us not into temptation,
And lead us not into temptation,
but deliver us from evil.
but deliver us from evil.
For thine is the kingdom,
For thine is the kingdom,
and the power,
and the power,
and the glory,
and the glory,
forever.
forever.
Praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord,
For he is good,
for he is good,
and his mercy endures forever.
and his mercy endures forever.
Praise the Lord God of Israel.
Praise the Lord God of Israel,
For he is good,
for he is good,
and his mercy endures forever.
and his mercy endures forever.
In Jesus' name we pray.
In Jesus' name we pray.
The Holy One of Israel,
The Holy One of Israel,
the King of kings,
the King of kings,
the Lord of lords,
the Lord of lords,
the one true God,
the one true God,
and there is no
and
other.
there is no other.
Amen.
Amen.
Lord bless thee and keep thee.
The Lord bless thee and keep thee.
Lord make his face shine upon thee.
The Lord make his face shine upon thee,
And be gracious unto thee.
and be gracious unto thee.
The Lord lift up his countenance upon thee.
The Lord lift up his countenance upon thee,
And give thee peace.
and give thee peace.
They shall put my name upon the children of Israel.
And they shall put my name upon the children of Israel,
And I will bless them.
and I will bless them.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah!
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah!
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah!
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah!
In Jesus' name.
In Jesus' name,
Amen.
amen.